after the qualifiers, the lower mains, and of course our 39-lap finale here at the dirt track at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And it's so hard to describe what it feels like rolling into this place. It doesn't matter if you're coming here just to check out the museum or go for a ride along or just here for even the Indianapolis 500. It doesn't really make sense of how you can describe this place, Brian, and I think that's why we love it so much. This is I think it says it's best on the street signs here in Speedway. This is the racing capital of the world, and it's such a pleasure and such a privilege, as always, that not only USAC and dirt track racing as a whole can be put on this big stage here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And even though we've done this for years and years, it still doesn't feel real sometimes that we're not only here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but we're here with our best drivers, our best teams, our best crew members, all here to put on a show for these fans here in the grandstands and also around the world on Flow Racing. Well, with that, let's get into some things that you're going to need to look out for here tonight at the BC 39 presented by Avante Windows and Doors. And let's start off with our season-long NOS Energy Drink USAC National Midget point standings coming into the finale here at the dirt track at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Justin Grant, with his win last night, extends his point lead, and we'll kind of get into some of the bigger parts of that win last night for Justin Grant. He comes in tonight with 648 points. Cale Drake, who was second in the points going into last night, still comes in tonight second in points. He is 66 points behind. Last night, of course, that mistake, we know it cost him here at the dirt track at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but in the season-long standing, that cost him 45 points. Once again, he is 66 behind coming into tonight's round at the dirt track at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Keenan McIntosh, a guy who did not have another good night, too. He lost some points to Grant. He's 106 behind. Jacob Denny, who, of course, had that scary crash on lap 1 coming off of turn number 2. He's 110 points behind. Again, another driver that lost a lot of points. Kevin Thomas Jr. currently rounding out the top 5. Tip of the cap, though, to the highest rookie in the point standings right now, Cale Drake. He goes up a spot from where he was last night. That's a 3-position gain in the last 2 races for the driver, the Avante Windows and Doors CB Industries number 83. Logan Seavey down to 7th. Gavin Miller, with his best result on the season last night, goes up to 8th. Steven Snyder Jr. down to 9th. And Gunnar Setzer currently rounding out your top 10 in those season-long NOS Energy Drink USAC National Midget point standings. And as what we always do here on the USAC on Flow Racing broadcast, let's take a look at our Dirt Draft Driver v. Driver matchup. It was the high roller last night taking the win over USAC regular in Dirt Draft. So Justin Peck will once again go up against another USAC driver. That, of course, tonight is Kyle Jones. We'll start off with Justin Peck's lineup on the left-hand side of your screen. He is at USAC driver 1. And we'll change this here as we go on here because there are some pretty recent developments we'll get into here in a second at the dirt track at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But earlier in the day, Justin Peck chose Dason Pursley, Brecken Reese himself, Hayden Reinbold, and Mitchell Moles. Kyle Jones to the right-hand side of your screen. He is at USAC driver 2 in the post-race lobby. He has chosen Cale Drake, Kevin Thomas Jr., Thomas Meserol, Zach Dom, and Dylan Welch. And a reminder, you can play against the USAC drivers here tonight for the finale of the 2025 BC 39 presented by Avante Windows and Doors here at the world's greatest race course, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You heard me mention it earlier, some recent developments here earlier in the day. Unfortunately, Dason Pursley will not be competing with us tonight. Of course, last night had a heck of a run. That pristine auction, CB Industries 86 car was up at the front racing with his teammate Justin Grant for the win. Ultimately got caught up in that accident with Cale Drake later in the race. Dason has made a statement to social media. It reads as follows: unfortunately, due to a minor medical emergency, I won't be able to compete tonight at the BC 39 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'm disappointed to miss it, and I hate it for my team and sponsors. Wishing the best of luck to everybody at CB Industries, and we'll be back at the racetrack soon. But good news is Dason Pursley is okay. The bad news, he is not here at the dirt track at Indianapolis Motor Speedway tonight. And I think even if you would have asked Dason today before he had to unfortunately scratch from this running of the BC 39 here tonight, I think this was probably one of his best chances to win. Of course, had that amazing duel with his teammate Justin Grant last night. They were beating and banging, and that was some good midget racing right there. Yeah, sure, there was hard racing, sure, there was contact, but ultimate respect between those drivers racing for the win at the front of the field last night. So once again, wishing the best over to Dason Pursley and hoping for a speedy recovery for Dason. However, that does change things in the points, and we'll get to that here in a second. But first, let's take a look at your run of show tonight for the NOS Energy Drink USAC National Midget Championship here at the dirt track at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Once again, we will have dirt draft tops. You heard Brian mention it just a few moments ago. Those qualifiers lined up off of heat race points last night. Once again, there is a 36-car invert, so your high point guy, Logan Seavey, will start 6th in qualifier number 1. After the qualifiers, the Elite 18 are locked into the BC 39. From there, 19th in points to 30th in points will go to the semi-feature. 31st on back will go to one of the two 12-lap C mains. Top 4 go straight from those into the back of the B main. And then the 15-lap semi-feature, top 6 advance into the BC 39. And then it is the 39-lap finale for the 2025 BC 39 presented by Avante Windows and Doors. $20,039 going to the winner here at the dirt track at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So much going on. Had a lot of scratches after last night, too, so that jumbled up the lineup. The officials working very hard earlier today to make sure everything is all good to go for tonight's finale here. Once again, just so grateful to be here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the world's greatest race course, home of the world's greatest race, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, in my opinion, home of one of the greatest dirt track races in the world, the BC 39 presented by Avante Windows and Doors. So glad to be here. We're so glad to bring you the action here all night on Flow Racing. Brian?
Thank you very much. Track work continuing here as they roll the water truck around to help finish ironing in this racing surface. Joined up in the lift by Dr. Patrick Sullivan. About a half a dozen drivers ended up falling out of competition. Of course, we heard with Dayson having a minor medical emergency. A lot of it, though, is because of mechanical failure, a few crashes last night, but still a very stout field of drivers. And to kind of elaborate on the format a little bit, it's Chili Bowl, but you took your preliminary night and you split it into 2 nights.
That was the best description I'd heard when you said that. You've taken a preliminary night and you've stretched it over 2 days. Interestingly enough, I was walking in today. I talked with Chris Hartman, the driver from Boulder, Colorado, who starts near the back of qualifier number 1. And he said, "Did you see that qualifier lineup that I'm in?" The problem is, Chris, is that that's true for all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the bottom line. I mean, they're all stacked.
Well,
and last night, and just, yeah, go ahead. I know where you're going with this.
You're in there with them, but they're in there with you.
That's right, and you're at the back, and so there's a possibility there.
Yeah, that gives you a huge opportunity, and sometimes Lady Luck smiles on you a little bit. You might have some attrition. You could easily find yourself locked in, maybe 16th or 17th, but hey, you're locked in to the BC 39. Either that or you're within the first couple rows of a semi-feature event. So in this case, fortune does favor the Bolt.
It does. It's interesting as you try to explain a passing point format. Last night I saw a social media post that goes, "You know, I don't understand. This person started on the pole and they finished second." And I wrote, and that's where the problem started.
Yeah, passing points awards you for going forward.
Yeah,
Just
that's right.
It's a lesson in life. You move forward, you advance, you're going to get rewarded for it.
And we probably need to reiterate, it's a unique situation where establishing those heat races last night, that occurred in the drivers' meeting with essentially a driver draw. They sort of had an opportunity to pick where they wanted to start.
Yeah, normally when you talk about a passing point format, you've got the almighty bingo ball roller, and that is your fade. And if it drops out of 75, yeah, you're fighting from the back. But in this case, the drivers got to come up and they got to decide where they were going to start. So kind of like qualifying, it put the control back in their hands, and you saw for some of them it really played to their advantage, and others it really came back to bite them a little bit.
Yeah, and you're a strong team, and you know it, and you've got a lot of confidence. You got a chance to start in the back on those heat races. Well, that's what you're going to do. I mean, Justin Grant went forward last night, so suddenly he's in position to be on a front row for a feature event. You made the most interesting observation at all was when we had teammates that took the same heat.
They were starting either right, but one in front of the other or next to each other. But to that point, Logan Seavey came up and said, "I'm starting 9th. He's your high point guy.
Right.
So if you look at how this is lined up, and of course the shuffling does kind of mix that up a little bit, but it is still constant that your high point driver is going to start 6th in the first qualifier, and lo and behold, it's Logan Seavey. So again, he knew where he wanted to be. He knew he wanted to be not in those early heats, wanted to be a little bit later in the night, and it paid off for him.
It's really interesting. The other thing that comes up, and it comes up more and more and more and more in today's world, is everyone sort of has their own opinions about the racetrack this, the racetrack that. Frankly, last year we had a barn burner. I thought part of it had to do with, guess what? The racetrack had character.
Yes, and that's one of those where you want a smooth track. You don't want to tear up equipment, you don't want to do anything, but sometimes a track with character will provide the greatest show you've ever seen. We've seen it here, we've seen it at Expo, we've seen it at Kokomo. I've seen it all over the country where you'll have a race that, man, they really have to get up on the wheel and they have to do something different with the car and they have to keep it loaded up, and it makes for a great race versus one where it's just gut smooth to the wall. Well, sometimes you just have a really good 30-lap race around the wall that looks like you're staring at traffic on the interstate.
Yeah. I mean, we're here in the Eric Keenan Field lift, as I like to call it.
Swaying gently in the breeze.
Swaying gently in the breeze. And we're able to look down, which is a unique perspective. I mean, sometimes we have booths and racetrack that allow to do we're more looking down and on top of it. Brian, there were moments last night where that was the only way to describe it was fierce. I mean, it was unbelievable.
You know, and you have to understand, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, there has been so much rain in this area over the last month, and there's so much moisture underneath this racetrack. When it starts to cool off at night, that moisture is going to start migrating back up towards the surface. So Mother Earth and Mother Nature are going to do what they want to do. Good luck controlling them. So you're going to be kind of working with that, and there's only so much you can do when you go out with equipment because, again, you're fighting against a lot of moisture under the ground, and yes, it's going to, and I described it as a windrow. If you've ever looked at a field getting ready to plant, especially corn, where they windrow it, that way the water can kind of run and irrigate and do what it needs to do, you kind of get that effect going, only it's not a soft row, it's more like hitting a sharp curve.
What I think is interesting, of course, is that we have a whole bunch of rookies in the field for the BC 39 this year. A bunch of kids who have come through micros, etc., and have done very well, and that's why they're here. But funny enough, through all of that, one of the oldest guys in the field won the thing, and one of the oldest guys in the field finished on the podium and came from way, way, way back. So they shrugged off the racetrack.
There is, how do you put this? Experience trumps youth.
It does.
In a lot of times, yes, you know, and that's not to talk down or say anything bad about the youthful drivers because there's a lot of great drivers that are really up and coming in this, but sometimes experience will always pay off.
You know, it's interesting today, and it's a difference. Today at the Hall of Fame induction USAC, we invoked the name of Pat O'Connor several times. There's a favorite story about Pat O'Connor, who won the 53-54 AAA Sprint Car Championship Midwest, and he was the first USAC Midwest champion. He was involved with a race at Eddie Sachs at Winchester Speedway. Pat tried to pass Eddie. They made wheel contact. Pat stopped and told Eddie to go around him because he said that's not how you pass.
Yeah.
Now, in those days, you've got no cage. Guys ran in lanes. That's how they did it. And we've had that whole conversation about midget and sprint car racing in 2024, 2025, a little before that. You know, the style of racing is different than it used to be. Some thinks it's too aggressive, etc. Some say, well, that's where they learned it in things like outlaw karts and that sort of thing. You know what? That's the style of racing we have in 2025.
Yeah.
And it was, and I beg you to tell me it was not entertaining last night.
You know, and it goes back to, is it right, is it wrong?
It is what it is.
Yeah. There's no right answer in this case. Now, are we condoning somebody going in and just blatantly feeding somebody an all-you-can-eat buffet of Hoosier rubber? No. But good hard racing, and we had that in spades last night.
Right. Race cars a little bit different. How they handle is a little bit different. There was some great racing last night. Justin Grant had to withstand a couple of restarts. Almost did it, obviously.
Yeah.
Dason nearly got him, and it looked like he perhaps might have. But to me, I got stopped today, I don't know how many times, and said, that was spectacular.
It really was. And, you know, racing like that is, and I was tweeting, I was like, my God, I love midget racing. And that's one of the reasons this is one of my favorite forms of open wheel racing is, you know, you get shows like that, what we saw last night and where we're going to see when we go over to Sweet Springs Motorsports Complex in Beloit and up there in Fairbury, Nebraska here next week. And not only that, we're going to have micros with us all of those days with the National Open Wheel 600 Series. So you're going to see maybe some of these guys possibly going back and jumping in one of those micros. And some of the guys that are running in now, 600 now, that are going to be running these cars in the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
So cars will begin to fire here. Again, hot laps will be in order of their qualifying groups. So qualifier 1, hot lap session number 1, and so on. Drivers begin to fire around the speedway here. The 21K, Cord Kistner making his way over into turn number 1 right now. The Prancing Horse Farm Racing number 21. The 98, trying to get him fired here. The J. Davidson scrap metal entry out of Sheffield, United Kingdom. It will be Brandon Carr in the 98.
Collinsville, Oklahoma's Cale Drake, the 97K, vying for a NOS Energy Drink National Championship. A little bit of trouble down here, Brad.
Yeah, Harmon, not one to turn over, and trying to get some speed here and get the cars rolling as they got her a little juiced up here to start things off.
Yeah, he's from Boulder, Colorado, and I checked with him, and he does live in Boulder. He's got some kids that go to school out there, Metropolitan, etc. And he may make some changes when they ultimately graduate out there, but he's having a good time in the Rocky Mountain area. Do we just give up on him?
may have to get a different vehicle.
I think that's what it is.
So we'll see if we get a
There we go.
side-by-side or one of the Jeeps on him here. Looks like we're going to have Rizzy come around on the four-wheeler.
Rizzy will give it a full effort. Let's turn. There we go.
Got Chris Bowie sitting over the back straightaway. He's from right here in Indianapolis. The Good Guys Home Services number 36.
Josh Hodge, the 5J. That is a teammate of Chris Hartman. Josh comes to us from Brownsburg. We see him a lot in sprint cars throughout the central Indiana area. It was interesting hearing Kyle Cummins' comments about, I mean, he's been running a midget a long time, but not all the time. And he sort of implied I don't know if he said it quite like this, but getting the hang of it, which is an interesting thing for someone as accomplished as Kyle Cummins. But they are different, Brian. I mean, sometimes sprint car drivers think, well, you just toss them around and all that, but you get in situations, you get up in the loose stuff, you don't have the power to get out of it the same way. Well, you got to be different.
The weight to horsepower in these cars is so insane.
Right.
With no more than they weigh and the horsepower they have, but you're also dealing with a tire that is, a third of the size of what you're used to. In sprint car racing, you can kind of saw on the wheel. In these, you really have to get on the wheel. Then you jump in a Silver Crown car where you don't even want to twitch.
That's exactly right.
So we're going to let them roll around a little bit here. As you can see, the track got the moisture laid down into her. The 3J also circling down around the speedway. J.J. Yaley out of Phoenix, Arizona. Rocker arm issue last night, unfortunately retiring him early from the feature event competition. Colton Robinson out of Titusville, Florida, talking about drivers moving up into the micros. We talked about him yesterday in that KKM Krebikajanian Precise Tooling Solutions number 67.
Back to J.J. Yaley, I mean, he was the Sprint Car Rookie of the Year, I think, in 97, won 3 races that year and ran with the SRA and USAC, but came up the midgets. And his dad, Jack Yaley, really was a midget driver. Arizona had its own midget association, had an association under the USAC banner that Jerry Coons raced in when he was just a kid. In fact, the great Roger McCluskey sort of busted Jerry Coons, called Keith Hall and said, Manzanita says, I think that kid's too young. And they called Mr. Coons, and he confirmed it. He says, I'll tell you what, we'll watch him, and if he gets that line, we'll send him home. They never sent Jerry home.
There's been a lot of drivers over the years that I've seen where, they're coming in, they're about 13, 14 years old, and that's been the deal is we're going to watch him. If he's got car control, if he can hold his own, then he's fine. But if he's out there, basically like a dart without feathers, then no, we're take him to a different class, do something different. We don't want to get somebody hurt.
And just imagine how different it was when Jerry was coming up. I mean, it just was unheard of.
Well, and to that point, if that hard age of no, you cannot run until this, would we have ever known of Al Unser Jr.?
Oh, well, there's all sorts, there was so many stories. Troy Ruttman was underage for much of the time, so he had a pretty good career.
And one of the drivers we haven't mentioned yet, rolling down the front straightaway, and he got caught up in that little mishap there in the last laps of the feature event. Logan Seavey out of Southern California, the Indy Power Sports Prime 47, Abacus Racing, number 57.
Logan, a couple-time USAC national champion, a power ride champion after coming from the Outlaw Karts, etc. on the West Coast. I send Logan and Chris Wyndham a happy first Father's Day this year. They had their very first Father's Day as a parent, which is an exciting time.
You go so many years and you wish your dad happy Father's Day, it's a little different the first time somebody says it to you.
And it sort of gets you, it sort of surprises you. I remember it was at church one time, they said, all fathers stand up, and I went, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, I have to go, I do have a couple of those.
I am. I'm one of those.
So excited with one, went for two. Crew's going to have to put the towel to him after this. Knock some of the material off. Now that we've got everybody fired here, we'll try to roll a groove in and get them rolling. And looks like problems continue trying to get the 36. Chris Bowie fired. At first, I thought maybe just, kind of a slick spot on the track, the car not wanting to fire, but they pushed him through the infield a couple of times. And she rolls, but she's not flighting off.
Well, the Bowies have been involved in racing for a long time. Restorations and cars, and Bill Bowie was a long-time Silver Crown competitor.
So officials talking to the drivers on the receiver, telling them go ahead and buzz the turns here. If you haven't done so, make sure you stop by the USAC merchandise trailer. Of course, the BC39 event t-shirts, they are available. Get those while your size, color, and design is still in stock. Several drivers down there, as we've been mentioning throughout the course of the event, with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, all kinds of goodies available down there in Merchandise Row. Of course, you can also pick up a complimentary can of NOS Energy drink. With NOS Energy, boundaries are merely suggestions. Fill up, fire up, and never look back with NOS Energy. It's human horsepower. Try one today here at the dirt track at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Make sure to follow on social media at NOS Energy Drink. Of course, NOS Energy Drink, the title sponsor of the USAC National Midget Championship. AMSOIL is the title sponsor of the USAC Sprint Car National Championship. The AMSOIL Shop by Vehicle Tool at AMSOIL.com takes the guesswork out of picking the best oil and filter combination for your vehicle. Choose the right product and packaging option and enjoy fast, free delivery right to your door. Visit AMSOIL.com to learn more. Of course, the USAC AMSOIL Sprint Car National Championship back in action this Friday and Saturday at Honest Abe Roofing Lincoln Park Speedway for the Sprintacular. They're going to celebrate the Independence Day holiday. Racing Electronics is the official race communication provider of the United States Auto Club. But Racing Electronics has over 30 years of experience and serves every major form of auto racing. Don't forget to bring your scanner the next time you're at a USAC National event, as all broadcast audio is available on frequency 454.5000. Learn more and shop today at racingelectronics.com. Cars continuing to buzz the turns here as we continue to acknowledge the many sponsors who make the United States Auto Club possible here on all three national divisions, including Cookout, as they always present fresh, never frozen burgers, barbecue, hot dogs, all cooked fresh every day. And get this, over 40 different flavors of shakes, all prepared fresh and made by hand every day. It's all yours. Find a Cookout location near you. Go to cookout.com. Sunoco is the official race fuel of USAC Racing. As the world's largest manufacturer of racing fuels, Sunoco has been the standard of motorsports for over 50 years. Known for innovation, consistency, and high performance, Sunoco Fuels has been the choice of racers in virtually every form of motorsports, from grassroots tracks to premier international series. Committed to supporting the racing community, Sunoco powers champions and fuels unforgettable moments at the track. Car IQ has created a payment solution aimed at fleets that allows cars and trucks to connect to gas pumps without the need of a fuel card or a credit card. Car IQ Payment Solutions, Car IQ Pay, replaces fleet card product to protect against fraud while significantly reducing back-office vehicle reconciliation. Learn more at gocariq.com today. Just about ready to go into Dirt Draft Hot Laps, and there is still time to set your lineup. Download the Dirt Draft app today if you have not done so. Set up your league, play against your friends, family, or even the guy down to the end of the line that just thinks he knows everything. Use referral code USAC when signing up for a $20 digital gift card to shop at usacgear.com as we go to green in Dirt Draft Hot Lap session number 1. And one engine sounded sour down there, and it looks like it was the 3J of J.J. Yaley. They had some issues last night under the bonnet in your feature event, and it looks like those issues still there, so they're going to go ahead and get that Avante Windows Doors number 3J back down into the pit area and go to work on that machine. Indy Metal Finishing is the official sponsor of the USAC work area. Indy Metal Finishing is a family-owned and operated business with 30 years of experience in the industry. Their mission is to support their customers with an exceptional level of quality and service. Conveniently located only minutes from downtown Indianapolis, Indy Metal Finishing offers Type 2 and Type 3 anodizing chemical conversions, passivation, and electromechanical services to motorsports, medical, military, aerospace, and manufacturing industries. Indy Metal Finishing is ISO certified and holds an FFL license. Visit them online at indymetalfinishing.com. Whether you're running a go-kart, micro, midget, modified, sprint car, late model, Silver Crown, or even on the tractor, Rod Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field to performing at your maximum potential. Since 1989, Rod Supply has provided superior products priced competitively with prompt and courteous service. Their promise is to continue to provide that same superior service and superior products that will keep you at the front of the field. Remember, they race them. Visit RodSupply.com for more information. Back to Green here in Dirt Track Complex session number 1. Checker flag on Dirt Drive Hot Lap session number 1. Just about ready to start cleaning concrete here as they splatter soil up off of the racing surface. And on cue, here comes Rizzy with the scraper.
Logan Stevie the quickest in that session. Brandon Card and Colton Robinson, top 3.
Of course, you look down in the infield when you see a USAC official running up to an accident scene. They're usually wearing K1 race gear, born in 2003, with the philosophy of offering products to customers that they would be proud to use. At K1 Race Gear, they are racers, and they understand the value of buying quality racing products at a reasonable price. To meet the needs of their customers, they strive to provide quality racing equipment, including shoes, suits, driving gloves, helmets, and more, to racers of all ages at a great value. Whether your son or daughter is just starting out in the sport, or you have a lifelong passion for racing, they have the products for you. Contact K1 Race Gear at k1racegear.com. Of course, make sure to follow along throughout this evening's racing action on social media. You can find us on Facebook by searching for USAC Racing, on X and Instagram at USAC Nation, and of course, live timing and scoring on the Race Monitor app. A reminder, everything you see on Race Monitor as well as social media is unofficial. All official news, notes, points, and updates will be posted at the close of tonight's racing program at usacracing.com. It's been the same web address since 1998. You can find all the information you need on upcoming events, past events, historical records, and more. Again, that's at usacracing.com. This group of drivers making their way out to the Speedway, the Sound Gear. Number 97 at Gavin Miller at Allentown, Pennsylvania. He sits here on the front straightaway. Zach Weigel at Belpre, Ohio. The S2 Cybersecurity number 8. Also out to the racetrack. The young lady at Muskogee, Oklahoma. The Indy Power Sports Abacus Racing. Chernoff Cosmetic Surgeries number 11. Kaylee Bryson. Cody Weisencell out of Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. The Bill Burlington Motorsports number 20W, and the 55 looks to be out there as well. That is Trevor Klein out of Mooresville, North Carolina. The Bellwood Auto Body number 55. So again, drivers on track for Dirt Draft Hot Lap session number 2 will be in qualifying race number 2 a little bit later on. Chase Stockin firing here on the front straightaway. The EA Stealth. England Machine and Tool, number 7, the 86X of Mac Leopard out of Beaver Creek, Ohio. The PristineAuction.com Speedway Toyota Spike Mobile 1, number 86X. Last night's feature winner, Justin Grant of Ione, California, 11th USAC score on the season. The The NOS Energy PristineAuction.com Mobile One Toyota Racing Development, number 87, making his way over through turns 1 and 2.
Trevor Klein's dad, Troy, an SCRA sprint car driver, went by the nickname Hotfoot. Ultimately did some Winston West racing.
Carter Gensrud on track in the C71 out of River Falls, Wisconsin, the Steel Brothers Real Estate. Number C71 machine.
We mentioned last night he's won a couple of Gopher Midget Series racing. And what did you say to that? About the Gopher Midget Racing Series? You had a quick little phrase.
I'd go for that.
I'd go for that. There's something like that. It was good.
Maybe something along the lines of he's been digging.
That's a good one. Zach Weigel in that Cornell Racing Stables. That's a beautiful car with a long history. If you go to their trailer, they got their own little museum of pictures of some of their drivers from days past. They've got a lot of pride in that. Always had that black and beautiful gold leaf number 8. Seen them in Silver Crown action as well. Zach, a Midwest Thunder winner this year at Atomic, if I remember correctly. Chase Stockin, former Paragon Sprint Car champion. We know what he's done with USAC, and many-time MSCS champion, but one of his first championship was his grandfather, Sam, who raced. We raced in IRP, started the Steel Block Series, and Chase was the champion of that.
So field will wind up. We'll go to green. Come up section number 2 out onto the speedway.
You know, Brian, your eyes can deceive you, but as I just watched that without looking at race monitor, I thought, yeah, Justin may be the fastest out there, and he's pretty quick.
Indeed, 12.420, 12420 second for Justin Grant. Gavin Miller second quick at a 12.438. Mac Leopard at a 12.662. Zach Weigel 12.667, and Chase Stockin a 12.893. Currently making the 5 quickest drivers.
Early, Brian, no doubt. We know the racetrack will change, but that turn 4 area is entirely different than we dealt with last night.
It is, and right now, the bottom side of the racetrack, even early on, you know, we were talking about where they were fighting that moisture, and they were out here and had the sheep's foot on it and just pounding this racetrack as much as possible. Again, you're trying to beat the earth into submission here, and you know, sometimes good luck with that. But so far, a little bit smoother around the bottom. It was at the end of the night when they were able to kind of clean the top off. We saw that little bit smoother line come in, but still, the track had some great character, put on a great show. As Dirt Drive Time Lap session number 3.
There's one interesting thing about the racetrack last night. I bet you know what it is. It was the same for everybody.
Yeah. That's the thing, is no matter what, everybody's got to race the same racetrack. Have to wonder if he's still tired after last night. Kevin Thomas Jr. to Coleman, Alabama. The Acro Seal, Metalloid 1, Stanton Link chassis, number 14.
That clip got replayed in the USAC office this morning. You were there a part of it, I think. Yes. You may have been the one that had it.
No, I was not actually. All the years that I have actually heard Kevin, you know, do interviews, I want to say that's a first.
Now, outside the mic, well, we've heard other things.
We don't bring that up. Rylan Gray out to the speedway at Greenfield, Indiana. The AceCorp.com. Kaiser Wheels, number 81G. The 4, Steven Snyder Jr. looking for a rebound here tonight. Driving the RMS Enviro Fast Speedway Toyota number 4 machine. Don't forget his crew chief. She's got T-shirts for sale down at the RMS trailer.
Not just a T-shirt. That is one cool T-shirt.
Jacob Boxell, the Inferno Armor Metalloid 1, number 14, JB, getting the push here on the front straightaway. The 71K, Cannon McIntosh out of Bixby, Oklahoma, the Mobile 1 entry. The 91, he's in it. It's Lance Bennett out of Aurora, Colorado, the show and film hitter. Simpson Amsoil, number 91 machine.
Boxell had a good night last night. He showed something.
Dusty Young out of Benton, Arkansas, the Simcoe, Aerodano Specialty, Stanton Spike, number 60. He will get the push off into turns at 3 and 4. The 67 of Jacob Denny out of Galloway, Ohio. The JBL Audio TRD KKM Kerbigajanian entry. The 40 of Chase McDermott, Springfield, Illinois, ended up 5th in an Elliott's Custom Trailers and Carts semi-feature event last night. Very different running this year versus 1 year ago for the Springfield, Illinois driver. Driver also looking for a rebound, and he was well on his way to one. Unfortunately, just couldn't quite pedal fast enough. Ended up getting clipped and flipped in his heat race. Ran to 3rd in the Hoosier Tires C-Main. Ended up 10th in the Elliott's Custom Trailers and Carts Semi. That's Zach Dahn of Pocahontas, Illinois. The Royal Power Sports, Stanton Spike, Dan Manier owned, number 16.
You know, Boxell, one of those drivers who ran at Miami County Speedway. It's changed names a couple times. And Purdue, Indiana, US 2040. He's also ran with Midwest Thunder. But as you look what happened at Red Bluff Outlaws and Cycle Land and what happens down at Port City and places like that, and Southern Illinois at Marion, all these places that have developed pretty strong 600 and micro programs, and we're starting to see that sort of picking up with US 24 in Miami. That's where these cars come from. That's where these stars come.
So letting the drivers roll around a little bit here, keeping them primarily to the high side of the speedway as they work on widening out this racing group. Again, if you're just joining us here on the Flow Racing broadcast, passing points once again up for grabs out of the qualifiers as they go to green. Number 3 of 6. Zach Dahn, quickest driver. Second quickest driver on track. Third quick overall. Gavin Miller was the quickest driver on track for that session. He's second quick at a 12:4:38. Dom at a 12:4:69.
Rebounded from that tumble last night is the Dominator, Pocahontas, Illinois. Zach wasn't pleased last night.
No.
Did you notice that?
He might have been slightly annoyed.
Annoyed. It's a good word.
Talking about Mid-America Midweek next week, the National Open Wheel 600 Series is going to be joining us on each of those nights. Terry tuning in.
Makes for a really nice program.
Got him and Tammy trucking down the road. Next group of cars out to the speedway. These are the drivers that you'll see a little bit later on in qualifier number 4. Dirt Draft Hot Lap session number 4. Gunnar Setzer making his way out. The Midwest 2 Mills number 43. The 00 Brecken Reese, driver out of Canyon, Texas, in the Chandler Grand Prix. Sierra Towing and Crushing, 13 Supplies Cleaners. 00, the 45, that is Bradley Cox out of Brook Burnett, Texas, driving the Redline Performance Roofing number 45. The 4B, Shelby Hinton out of Beverly, Louisiana, driver of the Dusty Moon Veterinary Services. Planet Enterprises number 4 comes to a stop here on the front straightaway.
Really good run last night for Brecken Reese, who has won 305 sprint car races this year. He's had a great record in the Tulsa Shootout, now 600 veteran.
Miles Doherty, driver out of Delmar, Iowa. The Horizon Carpentry, Spankins Motorsports, Brian Crower Incorporated, number 8D. The 8J getting the push over into turns 3 and 4. Cooper Miller at Graham, Texas. Winner earlier this year in A-Class competition at I-44 Speedway down just outside of Oklahoma City. It was in A-Class. Brings her down the front straightaway. The 19. Be Hayden Reinbold. Out of Gilbert, Arizona, the AME Electrical Indy Race Parts number 19 AZ.
Saw Andy Reinbold here a couple hours ago and had a chance to thank him for his support of the United States Auto Club Hall of Fame. He and Jerry Petty of Avante Windows and Doors have been two big benefactors. It's allowed us to have a nice ceremony and begin our preparation for the Hall of Fame wall. We really appreciate that support.
The Team Petty Rossi Racing, Avante Windows and Doors, Spike number 3, Pete Justin Peck out of Monrovia, Indiana. 9th place in an Elliott's Custom Trailers and Carts semi-feature event last night. Hard to say he's a rookie, but he is. He's a rookie here in the BC39. 5 overall wins on the season. Talked about that yesterday. 3 of those to start the season off with the National Series of the American Sprint Car Series. Then 2 wins in Kubota High Limit action. That was at Ransomville and most recently at Butler. Both of those in the month of May. Get wind up here for Dirt Drive Hot Lap session number 4. 2 more to go after this. Yeah, Justin Grant so far has been the quickest driver on track in the CB Industries. NOS Energy number 87, 12:4:20. Gavin Miller, second quick at a 12:4:38. Back down at a 12:4:69. Hayden Reinbold, quickest driver on track, 4th quick overall right now. If he improves this time on the way by, not quite, 12:5:11. Jacob Denny is 5th quick right now. Then you got McIntosh, Peck, Sensor, Boxel, and Snyder currently in the top 10. Quick look at the run of show. Once we wrap up our Dirt Draft Hot Laps, we'll have Junior Sprint Hot Laps, and they're qualifying. After that, should go into opening ceremonies. We'll start things off with our 6 qualifiers.
And Brian, I can't help but mention that you've been doing a little mentorship in the Junior Sprints ranks earlier today.
We had Levi Ballard down here. They were trying to do a little bit of promo work. Try to give him a little PR help. When you're at Indianapolis and you win, of course, you kiss the bricks.
Right.
The form was all wrong. We just had to go down there, give him a little bit of advice here. I said, bud,
he wasn't having it.
No, he wasn't. You got to get down there. You got to get after it.
Right.
He was not doing it.
No.
So we're gonna see if Beefstick does a little bit better job later on. So with a Mohawk that cool, you got to be cooler.
That's exactly right.
He was not living up to the Mohawk. I don't want to know the amount of product it took to get that thing to stand up that way.
But it does, doesn't it?
He wears it. He wears it perfectly though.
Yeah. For me to get that much hair to stand up, I'd have to douse myself in Rogaine for 3 months.
Father told me for years you can't have hair and brains both, and well.
There's Chris Shield, the 2-time Rocky Mountain Midget Racing Association champion.
Nice pivot.
Chris is involved with kind of, it's hard to describe, but he does imaging really from space down in the mountains and around Colorado. And so the petroleum industry uses that, some really sort of high-tech photography stuff. So kind of an interesting guy. He's also been a vice president of the Rocky Mountain Midget Association, and he says, I've already had a taste of that pill.
It's interesting in racing. I say it's the everybody sport, whether you're a competitor or a fan, because you have everything from white collar to no collar.
Right, exactly.
And it's amazing it's not any one particular side of life. And, it's billed as this, giant festival of rednecks. And
it's not.
No, it's not.
It's not. Well, that's the biggest joke about NASCAR. There's high-tech engineers there, people using serious math.
Trust me, there's times they put the yeet in yeet.
Yes.
But not usually. Devin Dobie out on the racetrack at Wapakoneta, Ohio, driving the MD Property Services Esslinger Spike number 23. Speaking of wild, Thomas Meseral, Team-Ez out of San Jose, California, the England Machine and Tools Spike, High Performance Lubricants number 7. The fastest man on the mic, Dylan Welch out of Carmel, Indiana, the Bell Helmets. John Levecko, Woodland Auto Display, Ripper Chassis number 60X. He will fire over into turns 1 and 2. Fifth place finish last night for Drake Edwards out of Peoria, Arizona. The Avante Windows and Doors, PristineAuction.com, Mobile One CB Industries number 83.
And watching his finishes overall, he's been doing a nice job.
Driver rolling off into turns 1 and 2, the 40X. Brake Standard of Allentown, Pennsylvania. Second in the Elliott's Custom Trailers and Carts semi-feature event. Drove it up to a 6th place finish in the A main in the great company McDermott Plumbing. Speedway Toyota Spike Chassis number 40X. Mechanical problems plaguing last night Kyle Jones out of Kennedale, Texas. Once he got to the main, unfortunately had to take a provisional to do it. But she got to run and ended up running it up to 11th on G Hood Construction. Belling Racing Equipment, Valco, Joyner Motorsports, number 27X.
So, Brian, we're discussing the evolution of this racetrack and the genesis of it, just sort of carving out a circle of dirt and doing some hot laps here, etc. Who was the first announcer of that event? Wasn't really a race, but it was an event.
I guess it would be you, but I'm really not sure.
Richie Murray.
Really? Yes. Appropriate. Justin Graham remains quickest at a 12.504. It looks like Drake Edwards was the quickest driver on track for that session. He's 8th quick on the field, a 12.943. PJ Gargiulo was also out there to Westchester, Pennsylvania, driving the Church's Auto Parts. TSL Shocks, Esslinger Elite Chassis number 5. He'll be the final driver to make his way back down into the pit area, and we will have one more. Flight of hot laps here in Dirt Draft Hot Laps.
The very first BC39, I took some pictures because what made it so unique was when we saw midgets sort of running down the main street here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, a sight we did not expect to see.
Final group of our Dirt Draft Hot Laps beginning to make its way out onto the speedway, and we'll find Cade Morton at Coweta, Oklahoma. The Morton Excavating Spit Titanium 4 Pistons Racing number 8M making his way out onto the front straightaway. Morton, at one point, wasn't sure if he was actually going to be in competition here tonight. His teammate and very good friend Lane Goodman as reported on in the early morning hours, did suffer a compression fracture in the T4 vertebrae. Luckily, only a back brace, and time is what it's going to take. And he is actually here today. And Lane, such a wonderful, wonderful human being. I've known him for many, many years. His nickname is Yogi.
Yep.
And I know that family has been through a lot lately with the loss of Avery. And I know his dad, he's actually all the way in England. And, trying to, see and find out what's going on. So, obviously, thoughts, prayers, all the good vibes going over to Lane for a speedy recovery, and glad to see that he is here and he is helping that team tonight.
And the part of that post that got my attention most of all, he basically said, it was on me, right? He was trying to make things happen. I had an accident. No excuses.
No, he went in when he signed up for the heat race. He said, "I'm going to go out and win this thing."
Right.
And unfortunately, just it hopped all the wrong directions and bottom of the cage meet concrete and rolled down to the infield. Unfortunately, the safety crews were able to get to him
right away.
Yeah, right then and there. And then once it was determined that there was more to the issue, went ahead, went red, and they were able to get him out. But he thanked not only the safety crew down here, but Indianapolis Motor Speedway and everybody who was involved, and make sure to get him to the proper care that he needed. Chris Andrews out of Tulsa, the Millennium Tour contention. Jim and Teresa Miller on number 95, rolling down the front straightaway. The 17H, Austin Wood out of Germantown, Tennessee. The Shriners Hospital for Children, Ripper, number 17. The 19, Mitchell Moles out on the speedway. Ended up getting upside down last night with a 25th place finish. In your feature events, in the AME Electrical Machine Valley Transportation, number 19. The 19M, the 19R rather. Ricky Thornton Jr. to Chandler, Arizona, the Machine Valley Transportation, AME Electrical entry on the speedway as well. Dirt track time laps out onto the speedway. The 19R is joined with the 19M. Ethan Mitchell making his way over onto the far side of the racetrack in Warrensville, North Carolina. The Joyous Junior number 19, the 16th. On the racetrack, Yamaha Roofing entry at Terre Haute, Indiana. That is Kevin Newton. Kevin Newton in the 16.
Brian, Matt Westphal was the 1998, I believe, off the top of my head, Neymar's midget champion. The 1999 Neymar's midget champion was Kevin Newton. Took a little hiatus from racing before he's come back in multiple forms.
So we've seen him in Silver Crown, we've seen him in a wing sprint car, non-wing sprint car, we've seen him in midgets, and a big supporter of racing, not only with our, normally would be our Honest Abe Roofing Quick Qualifier, but also supporting on the World Racing Group side with the American Sprint Car Series, with Power I. He's had success, and he's giving back to the industry that he really, really loves.
He does. Uh-oh, here we go. We'll see Owen Larson out in the 83. Jax Whitmer. Understand that Jack's hometown is right by Ole, Pennsylvania. The longtime home with a great sprint car driver, Tommy Hendershitz. That came to me from Barry Angstead.
They'll start to wind things up here. Owen looked like he had last night's feature in hand as he caught that infield tractor tire. Initially, I thought he just went down and caught the rut. They brought the replay back up and confirmed, no, he did go down and found one of those truck tires. So that's what opened the door for Levi Ballard last night. But you've got Owen on track. You've got Balin Morris. You've got Brick Bowie. William Ballard.
Brighton Ballard. Bowie.
And Jackson Whitmer, 707. Whitmer getting upside down last night. Kind of a little snap roll action for him.
After winning a heat race. Looks like Bright Boy the best at 15.211. Owen Larson 15.281.
Dirt Drive Hot Laps continuing here. The Stoops Junior Sprints, group number 2. Gunnar Pio out on the racetrack of the 9C.
Yep, Hudson Andrews in the 7.
Ashton Glazer in the 9.
Kenna Grin is out at 28K.
It's like Giselle Hicks in the number 21. And one more. The 32C, Blake Kroom is set to be in this one.
Giselle was pretty quick last night. Got a little snap, crackle, and pop going.
Kind of a common sound in the Briggs and Stratton class.
Yes, it is. In the Briggs and Stratton class.
Had a lawnmower, did the same thing, but it didn't run near as good as these do. So McKenna Crin, quickest on track at a 15.213. Again, these Dirt Draft Hot Laps also counting as the Stoops Junior Sprints Honest Abe Roofing qualifying runs. Of course, get your free estimate. Go to honestaberoofing.com today.
Last roof you'll ever need?
A couple years ago, I was wishing they had an office in Oklahoma.
I'll bet.
Grew up my life in an area of the world that gets about 6.5 to 7 inches of rain a year, and sometimes we get that in a weekend. So the final group of your Stoops Junior Sprint is going to make their way out to the Speedway. Audrey Larson rolling down the back straightaway. Ty Schaefer in the 40 here just past the flag stand. It's like Ashton Whitmer also on the racetrack.
Stetson Stroop in the 47.
And we talked about a little bit earlier. He's here on the front straightaway, driving that CB Industries number 87, Levi Ballard.
So if Levi makes slight wall contact, will you say that he did what?
Well, giving it a peck.
Kiss the wall, yes.
Yeah, he's going to kiss the wall. The goal is to kiss the bricks.
Right. Jackson Evan in the 14E. I mean, Brian came out of the lift to offer some assistance there.
I mean, he
was hands-on.
He was struggling down there. Mom was giving assurance. Dad was giving the old, gung-ho, let's get after it. He was being a kid, though.
Yep, he had those feet firmly planted in the ground and was not going to budge.
That's all right. He'll learn. One day he'll look back and realize the significance of winning at Indianapolis.
You know, we had someone win the Students Pursuit. I know who it was. I'm just not going to say it. And it was clear to me that hadn't crossed his mind.
It's kind of like drivers when they do win at the Tulsa Shootout or the Chili Bowl, or they win the Knoxville Nationals. It's about a day or so until it finally sinks in, you know, the magnitude of that win. It's like winning the King's Royal. I mean, it's incredible at the moment, and then it finally sinks in the accomplishment that is.
I think Justin Grant told me that he really understood it when he saw his picture was underneath the pagoda with all the other winners. You know, that's something. That's something to take a picture of.
Your name gets mentioned in the same sentences as Unser, Andretti, and Newgarden. You've done something.
Right.
So our qualifiers will start off the program. So a little bit of time before we get back into the swing of things here. That means you have time to go down and check out Vendor Row. We've got all kinds of great t-shirts, hats, hoodies available down there. Drivers, of course, the USAC merchandise trailer, BC39 event t-shirts. Grab a complimentary can of NOS energy drink while you're down there. Of course, the adult beverages are flowing here this week, but please, 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 we cannot ask politely or sternly enough. Make sure you drink responsibly. There is zero reason for you to be tipped and decide to get behind the wheel of a car, because that's going to get you on the wrong side of the law, and that's not where you want to be. So make sure you have somebody that can get you home, because we want to see you back at our next USAC event, which, of course, is this Friday and Saturday just down the road in beautiful downtown Putnamville, Indiana.
And I mentioned Tommy Estes, who knows something about winning races himself, has worked very hard on that racetrack and had it in great shape last Saturday, so it's going to be a barn burner.
So crews coming out and it's like working on the walls a little bit here. As on the Flow Racing broadcast, we're going to step away for just a moment. We'll be back to the dirt track in Indianapolis.
Whatever you drive, however you drive. AMSOIL specially engineers lubricants to maximize power, performance, and protection in your vehicles, so you can work hard and play hard with confidence. Order online at amsoil.com.
So we'll go back to the broadcast here on Flow Racing, as looks like people starting to make their way down into the infield, as I believe we should have Invocation National Anthem coming up here in just a little bit. So it appears to be just about that time here. So as it comes to that time in the night, let's go into sit down trackside.
Well, thank you so much, Brian. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we welcome you to the greatest place on earth, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, more specifically the dirt track at IMS here in Turn 3 of the 2.5-mile racetrack. We are so excited for the 7th running of the BC39 presented by Avanti Windows and Doors. A huge thank you to everybody here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway who helps make this possible, including Jerry Petty with Avanti Windows and Doors for helping us continue this event that honors the legacy of Brian Clausen. Before we get started with tonight's events, we will have an invocation by American Racing Ministries, Mr. Tim Solon.
Can we pray? Father God, once again, we pause and we thank you for all of your blessings and all of your love. We thank you for the opportunity of being here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, this great facility of racing. I ask you to bless Roger Penske and Doug Bowles and every venue they would put on. May it be a great success. Father, we thank you for Kevin and all of USAC, and we ask you to bless them as we travel across this country. And tonight, we ask that you would bless us all, I pray. Thank you for the military, Lord, that's standing around this world and on our shores to keep us free so we can meet like we are this evening. And I ask, Father, that you'd bring them all home safe very soon. Thank you for all the sponsors that come along to help make all this possible. And now, Father, we ask you to bless and keep safe all of our drivers, crews, officials, and all of these great fans. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
If you've not yet, please rise to your feet as we welcome back Clayton Anderson for our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Six qualifying races on tap for your USAC Gnostic Drink National Midget Championship, 2 C mains, 2 B features, and last but not least, the 7th running of the BC 39 presented by Avanti Windows and Doors. 39 laps at the dirt track at IMS, $20,039 to win, and a whole lot of glory to your winner.
Brought to you by Car IQ, going to begin to make its way out to the racing surface. 10 laps the distance. Again, we are back to passing points combined from yesterday and today. We'll take the 18 highest in points, and they will advance on directly into your 39-lap championship feature event. Everybody else going to drop into C's and semis. So kind of like we mentioned earlier, take a Chili Bowl prelim night where you normally run heats, qualifiers, and that sets up your alphabet soup. In this case, you ran the heats. That set up the alphabet. Now we come back off of those heats. The passing points helping to set the lineup for the qualifiers. Again, with that inversion of 6 into each one of these qualifiers. So Logan Seavey was your high point driver, starts at the outside of row number 3. We'll go back to the passing point scale. We'll combine those totals, and that'll set the field for tonight. Qualifier number 1 set to roll to the green like this. The 98 of Brandon Carr out of Sheffield, United Kingdom, in the Jay Davison scrap metal entry from the pole position. Scheduled to go at his right is J.J. Yaley in the Avanti Windows and Doors, number 3J. Second row from the inside in 67. Colton Robinson out of Titusville, Florida, for the Precise Tooling Solutions, number 67. Outside of him, scheduled to be the 3G of Kyle Cummins out of Princeton, Indiana, the Oshwicken Speedway, Spike Chassis, number 3. The 97K of Cale Drake at Collinsville, driving the iBike Toyota number 97. He'll go from 5th. From 6th, it'll be Logan Seavey at Estota, California, the Indy Power Sports Prime 47, CGCPA's number 57. Next row from the inside, Josh Hodge out of Brownsburg, Indiana, driving the Henchman Indy Claxon GRP number 5J. Outside of him, Chris Bowie, he's out of Indianapolis, a Good Guys Home Service, Ripper Chassis number 36. Driver to Hershey, Pennsylvania, the Prancing Horse Farm Racing. Cord Christard in the number 21K will roll from 9th. From 10th, it is scheduled to be Christopher Hartman out of Boulder, Colorado, the 35S, the duo water entry. And your final starter scheduled to be Connor Wolf at Lafayette, Indiana, in the RV Doctor number 41.
So again, you're Logan Seavey, you're a high point guy. Start on the outside of the 3rd row. You move forward, you got yourself a good position right off the bat to the big BC 39. 10 laps of distance.
Field in tow on the Toyota Racing Development pace truck as they make their way off into turns 1 and 2. Couple of drivers scratching after our dirt draft hot laps, and I believe Connor Wolf is one of them. Scheduled for 11, 10 cars now. Looks like problems continuing for Yaley. Rocker stud last night was the issue. It came out during hot laps and not sounding too pleasant. It looks like he's going to go ahead and take it down into the pits once more. As looks like he has rolled into the middle finishing work area, but they're going to go to give that car the push, and he's going to head to the trailer, as that could spell the end of the night here for J.J. Yaley. We'll see if he's able to make his way back out, as now they will have to crisscross the field here. The 67K going to jump up to the outside of run number 1. Remember, passing points are not done for the posted lineup. It is done from the final parade lap. Tie still going to the driver that scored the points first. So just like at Expo, basically we're saying tie to the earlier heat.
Right. She just had some tough luck and played the Chili Bowl in here.
So Carr holds on to the pole position. The 67K Colton Robinson now going to go to the outside of run number 1. The 3 Giacomo Cummins, instead of being scored from 4th, will be scored from 3rd. The 97K of Cale Drake going to the outside of run number 2 now. Seavey in the 57 now going to go from the 5th starting spot. Hodge from 6th.
Trying to get Chris Bowie started.
Remember, Bowie had all kinds of trouble getting that car running during hot laps as well. Not sure if he ever actually turned a lap under green.
You know, the BC39, a prestigious race in its own right. But Cale Drake, you know, he's in that title chase. He does not want to give many more points up to Justin Grant.
You know, we see in racing, you can have a 2-3 race stretch where you just really add on to that points total, and then at the same time come back and have a 2-3 race stretch where you can't find enough points.
Right. Strike when you can. Throw flag in the air from Tom.
That's like the fact that his helmet has Darth Vader on it.
He's an imposing guy like that. He strikes fear in you just when he walks around.
So the force is strong with this green flag getting ready to come out. So field set to go to green. A couple of cars dropping out of the lineup, but here we go. Qualifier number 1 brought to you by Car IQ gets underway. And problems immediately for Bowie. He's going to go ahead and turn it down to the infield, and qualifier going to come to a close for him, as it will be Brandon Carr jumping out with the early advantage. Carr had all kinds of trouble in heat races yesterday. Right now going to come around trying to lead lap number 1. His teammate trying to take it from him.
Meanwhile, Logan Seavey jumps to the outside of the 57. He muscles his way down the back straightaway.
Challenge down to the inside for the second spot here on the outside. The 67K of Robinson going to come around and lead lap number 2. Cummins at the line has second for Brandon Carr. Carr going to drop back to 3rd. Drake Seavey, that's your top 5 on the back straightaway.
And let's remember, what a charge to the front in the feature for Cummins as we're under yellow.
The 5 of Hodge. Spin into a stopover in turns 1 and 2.
Hey, Brian, long-time racing fan. In fact, was involved very much in racing and PR perspective when he was with Kroger, Kevin Katansky. We saw today. Really like that you gave out the mechanisms by which you can listen to our broadcast in the grandstands.
Something new this year, and a big thank you to Racing Electronics for getting this done for us. 454.5000. If you have a scanner that you take normally to, whether it's to the NASCAR races, the IndyCar races, you're able to listen in. It is all the audio that we actually send out on Flow Racing. So if it goes out on the broadcast, you'll actually be able to hear it on a scanner. Again, 454.5000 at USAC National Events. As we get ready to go back to green, Colton Robinson, the Titusville Florida driver, in command. As we'll see for how long as they work on the back straightaway. Challenge down to the inside line from Kyle Cummins, the 3. Trying to get some all-important passing points here. Comes around and he was showed away.
Kyle's making the bottom work. Meanwhile, Logan Seavey still betting on the high side. Stalls out a little bit in turn 2. Now he dives slow.
Robinson coming back after the race into the outside. Bottom side working for the Avante Olympic Tires Racing. Number 3G holds on to it for the time being. Seavey in the meantime on the inside. He's going to grab away 3rd in the 57. The 98 from leading the opening laps now getting shuffled back to 5th. Challenge for the lead ongoing though. That time Robinson scored first at the line.
Yep, he absolutely was. Here's the high side as Cal continues to work the bottom.
To retake it, Robinson Robinson still right there. Now off the bottom and up to the top of the racetrack. He's going to go in and put the tail tank to the nose of the 57K. Gummins going to hold on to the race lead, but they are nearly nose to tail onto the back straightaway.
Cale Drake with trouble in turn number 2. He gets bounced on the top, and here's the Swamperoo right there.
Going slide for slide at both ends of the racetrack right now as they're doing that. That's around the 57 of Logan Seaver closed in. A white flag coming this time here in Car IQ qualifier number 1.
Those two might mess around and watch Logan Seaver sneak right in there.
The Indy Power Sports Advocates racing number 57 on the inside, going to take over second. The 67 in the meantime going to get upside down off the cushion, and what a dodge by Cale Drake. Drake coming in full steam on the cushion, kicked the car sideways, was able to avoid the flipping 67K of Colton Robinson. Safety crews up on the scene. Colton going in hard on the outside. Unfortunately, got into it just a little bit too much in the cushion. Grab and hold. So they'll start to roll the car back. He is okay inside that machine.
Now, Cale Drake had trouble right there as well. He's nearly stalled out at the apex of turn 2. We may have a replay, Brian.
Studio 56 going to bring up the replay here on Flow Racing. And like I said, went in, biked her up, brought her down, and then a little bit too much there as he goes for the ride over in turns 1 and 2. We'll get a look at it here as they slow the frame rate down. Brought it up, set it down. Unfortunately, just couldn't keep it down. Came prepared today. We got the blower.
You did. Brian's got tools. So Cord Kistart is getting back in position for 21K.
Again, do have to give a tip of the cap to Cale Drake there, because in that replay you saw him, he shot into the frame and he was lined up on the outside.
Yeah.
And he was able to get that thing loaded up.
Probably was thinking, no, not again. After trouble last night.
Cummins leads. Remember, he started third in this one ultimately, not fourth. After the 3J, J.J. Yaley had to vacate. Seavey from fifth, sitting in second right now. Cale Drake from what should have been the fifth, ultimately was the fourth starting spot. He's up 1 so far in this one. Your pole sitter. Shuffle back to fourth as we go back to green. It's one lap shootout. Cummins going to protect the bottom. Seavey not able to get the run here as they work onto the back straightaway for the final time. Challenge for second, coming to the checkered flag. Can he grab it away as Cummins gets the race win? No, Seavey's going to hold on to the runner on spot. Cale Drake, Brandon Carr, Josh Hodge, Cord Kistart, Colton Robinson, Chris Hartman. That rounds out your field. So your winner, ladies and gentlemen, driver going third to first in this one at Princeton, Indiana. Driver the Ashwiken Speedway, Avante Windows and Doors, EA Stealth Spike, Liz Tires Racing, number 3G. Give him a hand, Kyle Cummins. Cummins with the win. Seavey in second. Cale Drake, Brandon Carr, Josh Hodge. That was your top 5 as he'll work on getting the helmet off. Let's take it down trackside.
So Kyle Cummins made that really impressive drive last night to the podium from 19th to 3rd, once again from 4th to 1st here in this qualifying race number 1 for the finale night of the BC 39. Kyle, are the conditions looking equally as favorable for you tonight?
Oh, it looked great. Track smooth. Track prep people did a great job, and I think this will make for a really exciting race tonight. Just got to give it up to Glenn Stires Racing for giving me this opportunity, and all the people inside this, Ashwiken Speedway, Glenn Stires Chassis. There's just a bunch of people that help us. Give a shout out to Jerry Petty, to help them put on this event, and say hi to my wife and kids, and that's about as good as we can do. As many points we can get. So wherever we start, should put us in the feature, and so we'll get her tightened up, and we'll be ready for the feature.
He's pretty pleased with that one. That's Kyle Cummins. He's your winner of qualifying race number 1. And, of course, I saw a lot of chatter on the internet last night, Brian. He's not a midget driver. Well, he is this week, and he is tonight. That's Kyle Cummins once again.
He's definitely proven the chatter wrong. He's definitely a midget driver this week.
Yeah, and he's had some success in midgets. Let's not underplay that. He's been doing it for a while now. Here, reminder, coming up July 23rd, Indianapolis Raceway Park, USAC Silver Crown Series. That's the Race Aid 100. $5 of every admission and $5 for every pit pass goes to Race Aid to help those in the racing community in need.
So K1 Race Gear qualifier number 2, another 10 times around. Again, looking to be in the top 18 in combined heat and qualifier points. To lock yourself directly into the feature event, Kaylee Bryson in Muskogee, Oklahoma, going to be in the pole in the Indy Power Sports entry. Outside will be Chase Stockin in the England Machine and Tool number 7S, the driver to Fort Branch, Indiana. Second row from the inside, Trevor Klein into Mooresville, North Carolina, the Bellwood Auto Body number 55. And from fourth is scheduled to be Zach Weigel at Belpre, Ohio, the S2 Cyber Security, Cornell Racing Stables number 8. Gavin Miller out of Allentown, Pennsylvania, the Sound Gear TRD number 97 from the inside of number 3. Next to him, Justin Grant, last night's feature winner out of Ione, California, the NOS Energy, PristineAuction.com, Mobile 1, number 87. Mac Leopard inside of your next row, the CB Industries, PristineAuction.com, Toyota Racing Development number 86X. He'll go from the inside of number 4, and outside of him is set to be Cody Weisensell out of Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, the Bill Burlington Motorsports 20W. Mike Hess, the Gravy number 92 out of Riverton, Illinois. He'll go from the 9th starting spot in the C71. Carter Ginsrud out of River Falls, Wisconsin, set to round out your lineup real quickly. Let's check in with Drake.
Caught up with Colton Robinson, who, of course, went upside down there in our first qualifier on the evening. Colton, racing very hard. As always, that we see you here with the NOS Energy Drink USAC National Midget Championship. What happened down there in turn number 2?
Just trying a little too hard, battling there with Kyle Cummins, and trying to get everything I could get, and just made a mistake and cost myself a lot. So hopefully we can eat some soup and get through this.
Colton Robinson was just outside the points bubble to lock it into the feature event tonight before qualifiers, and you got to imagine he's got a tough road to go here for the rest of the VC39 presented by Avante Windows and Doors.
Indeed, as started in front, went backwards, and like I said, passing points you talked about earlier, I said, well, the second and first, they didn't get enough. No, you get rewarded for going forward in this format.
That's right, and now he has to eat some soup.
Yep. That is the main course in January.
We had some fun chatting with Mike Hess today, and Mike's had some great days in midgets. We mentioned winning at Terre Haute and winning at Knoxville. He's not been a race official forever.
It's kind of like being a parent. You had a life before this.
Yes. Yep. That's what his was.
Kaylee Bryson again from the pole, the young lady out of Muskogee, Oklahoma. Chase Stockin next to her in the 7S. Trevor Klein, Zach Weigel on number 2, Gavin Miller, Justin Grant on number 3, Mac Leopard, Cody Weisensell, Mike Hess, and Carter Ginsrud. Everybody making the call here for K1 Race Gear qualifier number 2. 10 laps the distance past the NOS Energy start can. We get after it. Bryson going to lead him onto the back straightaway. Close quarters and tapping tires on the back stretch. And we going upside down. It's Leopard. Everybody was testing the tenacity of the Hoosier sidewalls as they worked off at turn number 2, and Leopard got squeezed and popped. Get the 86 back upright. We'll see if he is able to continue on or if he takes it down into the Indy Metal finishing work area. That's a start. If you're Kaylee Bryson, you did not want to see that one come back.
Because there's so much pressure to win. I mean, this goes back to the passing points. When you're on the pole, the pressure to win is really acute.
Bobby Jarrell said it many years ago. Gibson used it for many years. It's the win it or wear it situation where, yeah, you have no chance to make up anymore, so you have to do everything you can with what you're given. Chase Stockin outside. He had slipped back a little bit in 1 and 2. He was quick, though, as they were really tussling up for that second spot to squeeze back between right rears and concrete. We'll see how things go here on the restart. The 86 has gone down into the Indy Metal finishing work area. That'll give you bonus points if you can read that lineup from here.
I just went to the optometrist and I didn't get a new formula just because I could read that.
So the caution lights do go dark. One of our lineups has escaped from the perch up here. It's fixed itself on the fence, and it's facing us, but
very nice of it.
I didn't bring my telescope to read it. try it again. Past the NOS Energy Star Camp. Bryson, one more time, brings him to speed. Once again, 3 and almost 4 wide. This time the 7 not able to hustle the outside quite as much and going to lose all kinds of ground. In fact, going to go second all the way outside of the top 5 here as they work their turns 3 and 4. Going to get back up in the 5th before they come around to complete lap number 1. But it will be Bryson leading. Gavin Miller in second with Justin Grant right there in the 87.
Yeah, so Justin Grant, he knows what his shorter is there. If he can get around these two, he's sitting ready for the feature.
Down to the inside, rolls the Sound Gear to 97 under the race lead. Bryson trying to hold on to second. Justin Grant trying to take that away from here. Bryson to the outside, Grant to the inside. Advantage will be to the NOS Energy CB Industries total number 87.
So now he's got his sights set on the lead. Kenny Bryson trying to fight back, goes to the bottom, puts some pressure on Justin.
Last time it was Grant on the inside. This time it was Bryson. Grant at the racetrack, able to fend off the charge of the 11th and opens the door for the 8 of Zach Weigel to enter the mix.
Yeah, Zach Weigel and Justin Grant have been pin pals since the BC39 before.
Down to the bottom side goes the Cornell Racing Samples. That's Tucson security number 8. He's going to have the spot away from David Bryson. She can shuffle back to 4th. Stockton running at the top 5. Then is Klein, Hess, Weisensel, Jensrud running at the running order. Leopard again upside down on the extra start. Done early here in K1 Race Gear qualifier number 2.
Kevin Miller is pulled away from Justice, so it would appear that Justice made test now. Hold on a second. We got some action on the high side.
Gavin Miller's gone 5th to 1st in this one. Justin Grant has gone 6th to 2nd. Zach Weigel has fallen back a little bit. He's gotten back to where he started and now got one more. As he rides to 3rd, Bryson and Colson are back to 4th. And Stockton is starting the outside of that front row, currently running after the top 5.
Chase Stockton is really driving hard on the outside. 3 and 4 is the white flag.
Final time around here in K1 Race Gear Heat Racing qualifier number 2 rather, as they work onto the back straightaway. Comfortably this time through turns 3 and 4. Checkered flag will greet Gavin Miller first here. K1 qualifier number 2. In the hands of the Allentown, Pennsylvania driver. Justin Grant can cross in second. Zach Weigel in 3rd. Caleb Bryson, Chase Stockton, Trevor Klein, Mike Hess, Cody Weisensel, Carter Jensrud, and eventually running out your field. But your winner, ladies and gentlemen, he comes to you out of Allentown, Pennsylvania. 5th to 1st run for the Sound Gear Toyota Racing Development Mobile 1 Link chassis number 97. Race fans, give him a hand. Gavin Miller. Miller with the win. Justin Grant in 2nd. Zach Weigel in 3rd. Caleb Bryson in 4th. Chase Stockton in 5th. Trevor Klein in 6th. Mike Hess in 7th. Cody Weisensel, Carter Jensrud, and Mac Leopard unofficially running out your field.
Yeah, but Justin Grant puts himself in good position as well with his climb forward.
Second heat race win of the season for the driver, the number 97. So he'll pull it down to the victory lane. Let's send it down trackside.
Gavin Miller also on your podium last night, picks up qualifier number 2 victory on this finale night of the BC39 presented by Avanti Windows and Doors. Sort of came unexpectedly to the front of the field last night, but not unexpected at all during this qualifier. Able to make a really smooth run to the front of this one from the 5th starting position. Gavin, how smooth is the racetrack right now compared to this point in last night?
I think the track's pretty decent right now. We needed to blow it off a little bit, but nonetheless, the track crew's been doing pretty good, and I'd just like to thank everyone back at the pits. Bo, Phil, Spencer, they're doing an amazing job right now.
Well, I doubt he'd argue that last night's racetrack wasn't also superb. That's Gavin Miller. He's your winner of qualifier number 2, also on your podium last night, which means that so far both of our qualifier winners have been from last night's podium, a trend that will end right here as Justin Grant just ran 2nd in that qualifier.
Thank you very much. As USACgear.com qualifier number 3 going to be next on the program. They'll throw a little mist down on the racing surface here. Lineup set to roll to the green like this. Rylan Gray at Greenfield, Indiana. The 81G, the AceCorp.com entry, going to lead him down to the drop of the green flag. Lance Bennett at Aurora, Colorado. Outside, row number 1, the Simpson Amsoil, number 91. Next row for the inside, Jacob Boxell. He is at Zanesville, Indiana. Driving the Metalloid 1 Acro Seal in front of armor number 14, JB, with Jacob Denny from 4th. He's out of Galloway, Ohio. The JBL Audio TRD, number 67. Kevin Thomas Jr. at Coleman, Alabama. The Acro Seal Metalloid 1 MW manufacturer number 14 goes from the 5th starting spot, and from 6 is going to be Cannon McIntosh. He's out of Bixby, Oklahoma, driving the Mobile 1 TRD Curb Records Toyota KKM Curb number 71K. Chase McDermott out of Springfield, Illinois. The McDermott Plumbing number 40. He'll go from inside of row number 4. Outside of him, Dusty Young at Benton, Arkansas. The Simcoe Spike Stanton number 60. Final row for the inside, Steven Snyder Jr. at Rising Sun, Maryland. The RMS Racing Enviro Fast Bike number 4. And Final starter in this one's out of Pocahontas, Illinois. That is going to be Zach Dahm in the Royal Power Sports Stanton Spike, number 16. As I do believe down trackside, Christy with an update.
Yeah, so going to have an opportunity to chat with Lane Goodman here, who obviously was in that accident last night, got checked out, sent away, and making sure that you're all good to go. And it's going to be a long road, but how are you feeling today?
I'm a little sore. I've been better, but I'm glad to be on my feet again, that's for sure.
I know they said last night you had a couple people at the hospital that were there kind of standing by your side and things like that.
Yeah, my closest friends were with me. I got my teammate Cade Morton, my best friend Thomas. They're all my best friends, really. Clinton Bowles was there, his girlfriend Alyssa, Logan Seavey. I mean, all my good friends that I have up here, they were there supporting me last night, and that means the world to me.
Also caught some more that the next thing you're looking forward to is the Chili Bowl, is that right?
Yeah, I'm about 3 to 4 months in this brace, and then that puts me about Chili Bowl time to be back in a race car. So that's what I'm looking for right now. So.
Pretty good news down here for Lane Goodman, who was in that accident last night, transported over to the hospital, and now looking at a couple months of recovery, but all in all, will be okay in the end.
Great to hear from Lane here tonight. Real quickly, let's go over to Drake.
Yeah, catching up with Zach Weigel there, who was third in that second qualifier on the evening here at the 2025 BC 39 presented by Avante Windows and Doors. Came into the qualifiers 14th in points, so somewhat on the bubble. The question is, do you think they'll be good enough to lock in straight out of the qualifiers?
I'm really not sure. It depends on how everybody else does. But I wish I would have gotten one more spot there. But we're just barely off right now, and I think just a little bit more, and we'll be right there up top with everybody.
Zach Weigel hasn't raced a whole heck of a lot this year, but when he has, he's been impressive, including here last night at the dirt track at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where he scored a season-best fourth-place finish.
Indeed, thank you very much. As cars will begin to line up on the Toyota Racing Development Pace Truck. Down in Merchandise Row, Logan Seavey has made his way to his merchandise trailer, so you can go down, get a Logan Seavey t-shirt, get an autograph. Again, Logan Seavey currently signing autographs at his merchandise trailer.
See what Steven Snyder Jr. can do. Just felt like he couldn't catch a break last night at all.
Her chief gets t-shirts, and he's going to make her work twice as hard to sell them. Said last night, you don't normally see that, but the RMS crew going ahead and getting that done, and really a tip of the cap to her for the work that she does.
Oh, no
is
doubt.
What that is.
She's a hard-working
So go down there.
no doubt.
Grab you a t-shirt here tonight as we get ready to go to green. Off at turn number 4, they find the NOS Energy start can. We'll get after it. And problems immediately for the 60 of Dusty Young, as he will spin to a stop over turn number 2. They'll bring this one back and try it again.
Just a little tap, that's all it took there. Chase McDermott so close a year ago. Hannah McIntosh ultimately did kiss the bricks without any instruction needed whatsoever.
Problem for the 71K, Hannah McIntosh. They will push it down into the Indy Meta finishing work area. The 6 able to refire. Tough start of the day for your defending BC 39 champion.
Well, but really, certainly came in based on not only last year, but his performance this year as a #1 contender.
Looks like down in the Indy Meta finishing work area, work ongoing on the Mobil 1 entry.
They just changed that left rear tire, so the KKM boys doing a very quick stop. Reminder, these guys won the pit stop competition during the prelude of the BC 39 as there was contact on that opening lap between Young and McIntosh, Brian.
We heard go, go, go.
And getting a look at that, the 60 came in and made contact with the left side, as that's when he went around. So So they'll put the 71K back on the racetrack. Remember, we've already gone green, so points are already in effect.
So, Brian, go over that one more time. That's an important point.
So passing points are done for the final parade lap. In case of a tie, the tie going to the earlier heater. In this case, the driver that scored the points first. Since they've already taken that initial green flag, the points at that lineup are in play. All 10 drivers did make the call for this race. So right now, Cannon will have to get to 6 in order to avoid losing points.
Right.
So he's got a little bit of work here to keep from really burying himself on the rest of the night. Wheel back to green.
So 6th place finish is par.
Field off and running as it will be the 81G of Ryland Gray jumping out to the early advantage here. Keep an eye to the outside, keep an eye to the inside. We got KK Independence Racing setting their sights on the top spot here. Jacob Denny has second. Jacob Boxell right now running in that 3rd spot. Kevin Thomas Jr., his teammate, working to the outside as here comes Steven Snyder to the inside of 4. Oh, your leader's upside down over to number 2. Watch at the bottom. It looked like things were getting ready to really come unwound there. Snyder going deep down to the bottom, and all of a sudden your leader airborne over in the 2nd turn. So Jacob Denny going to take over the front of the field. The KKM Carbon Kajanian JBL number 67. Four Kings Racing right now sitting 2nd and 3rd. Boxell had the advantage over KTJ. Now KTJ over the 14 JB. Steven Snyder in the 4 from 9th. Going to restart in the 4th spot as I believe we have a replay coming up here on the Flow Racing broadcast. And Ryland getting in, tipping her up, setting her down. Unfortunately, once she hooked, she was gone.
Yeah, and he's out of the car with the helmet off.
So getting a look at it here as he goes in and just buries up into the cushion. And once he does, he slams down hard on the left side. Digs the wheel in and up and over he goes. The good news, he is okay, as you mentioned, out of the car. So the track cleared of the Ace Corp gray auto number 81. So we'll line him up, set him loose once again. Again, Denny with the lead. Kevin Thomas Jr., Jacob Boxell, Steven Snyder Jr. up in the 4th. Zach Dahm from 10th. Now going to restart in 5th. And it will be the 40 of McDermott, the 71K of McIntosh, the 91 of Bennett, and the 60 of Young.
So Jacob Denny's had a great year. Opportunity here for him. Start on the outside of the second round.
Back to green. Denny going to go to the outside. Kevin Thomas down to the inside. KTJ picking up a heat race win last night here. As Steven Snyder Jr. going to work on Jacob Boxell, trying to get the 3rd spot here. The EnviroFab RMS Racing number 4. Much better go of it here in the early running to what he had last night. As that mired him all the way in the final row of the USACGear.com qualifier number 3. He's up to the 3rd spot now. Zach Dahm working down to the inside, going to try to clip a coupon to get a 2 for 1. He's got 1 as they run to the front straightaway. Dahm now going to take over the 4th position.
He's one of the great bottom runners. Trouble further back for the 14. Meanwhile, Kevin Thomas Jr. has jumped up top to see if he can track down Denny.
Jacob Boxell getting rounded up to the cushion last time by as KTJ now going to go back down to the bottom over turns 1 and 2. Jacob Denny leading. The 14 running in 2nd. Here comes Cannon McIntosh from the back with a vengeance. Remember, he had to go down flat left rear tire. His points still from 6th. Well, he's made up for it. He's up to 3rd now. Oh, contact! I say that he's upside down over in turns 3 and 4. Snyder keeps it rolling. Oh, my.
Well, little contact there. He turned backwards, and it was just along for the ride.
Points back in the bank, and he was about to rob the whole thing.
Exactly right. He had gotten in a position where he was starting to accumulate those points, and then all of a sudden, here comes a cropper.
So we get to the 71 back up right here as safety crews quickly on scene.
I think we're sort of anxious to see how this unfolded, Brian.
So the good news, he is out of the car and walking away. Get a look at the replay here on Flow Racing. Got a couple different angles. Snyder on the outside. The 71 looked like just trying to set up to go to the top, but there was a car there already. And I believe Christie does have the 71 down trackside.
Man, heartbreak for Cannon McIntosh as he came all the way from the tail of the field after that flat left rear, sitting in a really good points position and now upside down. What happened there?
Yeah, I just had a run and I didn't even see him there going back to the top and just caught him and got upside down. But unfortunate, we'll keep working.
Your defending BC 39 champion Cannon McIntosh now going to have a little bit more work cut out of him for tonight's 2025 edition of the event.
That's what I saw. How about you?
That's exactly what it looked like there. Is like I said, just he was setting up to go to the top, didn't realize the 4 was there, and said it exactly. So
in the blind spot. Instead of a tap on the horn, someone reminds you they're there. In this case, you get on your lid.
These cars, it's so confined inside that cockpit. Of course,
Correct.
with full containment seats, you've got a support that comes up the right side of your helmet.
Right.
You can't just turn your head and look to see who's there.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that, Brian. That's an excellent point. You really can.
So single file past the NOS Energy start can as we come back to green. It is still Jacob Denny in command. Kevin Thomas Jr. patiently around the bottom here in the restart. Zach Dahm now going to try to get up into 3rd. Goes after the 4, Steven Snyder. Snyder down to the bottom of 3 to the exit of turn 4 on the outside. And Dahm patiently to the bottom. He'll take it.
Dahm, a little like Shane Cottle, is one of the great bottom racers of our time.
Dahm still around the bottom. Snyder with a big snafu. That time over in turns 1 and 2. Bounced the car up in the air. It cost him another spot as McDermott was able to make his way by for the 4th position. White flag coming out, though, here in USACgear.com qualifier number 3.
KTJ is going to have to get a little bit closer. That battle is going to be for that 3rd spot.
Off into turns 3 and 4 one more time here. Qualifier number 3 about to be in the books, and it will be the JBL number 67. Jacob Denny grab the win.
McDermott got it. That's the line. Got 3rd.
Good race for the 3rd spot, but Kevin Thomas Jr. in 2nd. McDermott grabs 3rd. Dahm in 4th. Snyder in 5th. Boxell, Bennett, Young, McIntosh, and Gray unofficially running out your field. But your winner, ladies and gentlemen, is out of Galloway, Ohio, driving the JBL TRD KKM Kirby Gajanian number 67. Give him a hand, Jacob Denny down trackside.
Jacob Denny getting upside down on lap number 1 of last night's prelim event. Now going to sit in victory lane for qualifier number 3 for tonight's main event of the BC 39. Fortunately, last night's feature event doesn't have a bearing on passing points for tonight's lineup. And so Jacob, does this win right here breathe some life back into your week?
Yeah, for sure. Even though we flipped last night, we got to start on the pole over heat race and win it. We didn't have that many points, so I knew we had to win this one. Calmed down a little bit from yesterday for sure. It's really tricky, so just try to make smart laps there and get it to the end.
Still a technical racetrack there for Jacob Denny, who is your winner of qualifier number 3.
Thank you very much. A little spritz of moisture down to the racing surface as Cookout qualifier number 4. Waist down to the staging lanes. Let's set the lineup for you. Driver to Delmar, Iowa, the Horizon Carpentry. Spankins Motorsports number 8D slated to go from the pole. That's Miles Doherty. And next to him is going to be Shelby Hinton out of Beverly, Louisiana. Driver the Dusty Moon Veterinary Services, Beast number 4B. Second row for the inside, Gunnar Setzer. He is out of Columbus, Indiana, the Midwest 2. Mills Bar Properties, number 43. Outside of him is going to be the Chandler Grand Prix, 13 Supply Cleaners. Sierra Towing and Crushing, Taylor Sudden Service, 00 of Brecken Reese. Justin Peck from the 5th starting spot out of Monrovia, Indiana. The Avante Windows and Doors. Team Petty Rossi Racing number 3P. And next to him is set to be the 19 AZ of Hayden Reinbold at the Gilbert, Arizona. The AME Electrical Indy Race Parts. Reinbold Underwood Motorsports injury. Next row from the inside, the 17L, now the 71B. Corbin Hayslett out of Troy, Ohio. The Revolution Bodyworks Esslinger Spike will now be the 71B. And outside of him is set to be the 8J. That is Cooper Miller to Graham, Texas. The Ferguson Superstore Velocita entry. Final row from the inside, Bradley Cox out of Burke Burnett, Texas. The Red Line Performance Roofing Stanton Spike at number 45. And your final starter scheduled to be Jeffrey Abbey out of Rome, Texas. The Panther City Resources Esslinger Spike number 8K. As that'll be your scheduled lineup here for Cookout Qualifier number 4.
Interesting 4 drivers in the state of Texas in this particular heat race. Loaded up. We'll see who can make a move here. Justin Peck, we mentioned last night, Monrovia, Indiana driver, spent a lot of time in midgets in the early part of his career. We saw him in places like Indianapolis Raceway Park, so ultimately made his way to Wing Sprint Car. He's had great success this year, doing a great job as always.
So cars staging around the dirt track of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Let's check in down with Drake.
Thank you so much, Brian. Down here in the Keith Kunz Curb Agajanian pit, of course, Christy caught it with Kanan McIntosh earlier. Here he is looking over his 71K right now. The team so far, they are still taking this car apart, but for the moment, they have informed me that this will not require a backup car, and you can see the work on taking off all the body panels. Looks like they're going to change a front axle along with many other bolt-on components, including those headers that you see right there on Flow Racing. So that's the good news. Not only that Kanan McIntosh is all right, but this will not necessitate a backup car.
But will necessitate a lot of work to get the A feature.
Okay, they got Bo and company down there putting the work in here. Fans continuing to make their way into the grandstands. Want to welcome everybody and thank you for supporting the BC39. Also want to welcome and thank everybody who has tuned in here on Flow Racing. Of course, the official live online broadcast provider of the United States Auto Club. It's always the question, is it on Flow? Since 2019, that answer, yes.
Bo Binder was a USAC Southwest Sprint Car champion in his own right many, many years ago. And by the way, another great trivia question involves that team, Keith Kunz Motorsports, with longtime associate Pete Willoughby. The question is, who won the very first UMP national event? It was Pete Willoughby in a Lincoln.
Some people may not realize when it comes to midget racing the amount of race wins and championships that Pete actually has.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, he was basically the toughest competitor to the Kunz brothers for many, many years.
He had, he's the one who brought Jason Leffler into Indiana. Jason Leffler was so strong before Jason Leffler. It joined Steve Lewis, but had the long relationship with Jay Grigg. So, yep, they joined forces, and ultimately it's been a great partnership.
Growing up, and I think about USAC midget racing, it was the Steve Lewis cars that stick out to most.
Oh, yeah. Bobby's turn of the wrenches and everything that Steve Lewis did.
Longtime photographer out of the Tulsa area, Richard Bales, checking in here.
Oh, yeah.
Hello.
Yep. Yeah, Keith went out from Springfield, Illinois, worked with his brother, and ultimately took a job on the Benetti Track Lights team. He went out there and worked with the Lawson Rock and Oil team, one of the great owners of all time. So, but found a home here in Columbus, Indiana. John Lawson. Name escaped me for a second.
Let drivers roll around a little bit here as they did apply a mist down to the racing surface before we brought this qualifier out. Again, Cookout qualifier number 4.
John Lawson fielded midget that broke the all-time consecutive win streak that had been held by A.J. Foyt, and his driver was Billy Bode.
Doherty in 8. Brings him off at turn number 4. We go to green. Time to to accrue some more passing points here. Gunnar Setzer quickly down to the inside, finds a hole, and he finds the way to get by. Takes over the top spot here in the opening lap. Another driver making quick moves to the inside. Justin Peck and the Avante Winners number 3. Shelby Hinton back one spot from his original starting position so far in this one as they hustle it onto the back straightaway. The 00, Brecken Reese. Started fourth, he runs it fourth, and your Polster. Something's going big time wrong over turns 3 and 4. He gets his speed back here in the front straightaway, but he about came to a stop.
Shelby Hilton having a good run, making the play in second. He's been up on the high side of the racetrack. Put some pressure on Justin Peck.
Hinton trying the bottom as they nearly made contact in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Peck was trying to come down. Hinton was going up. They avoid the calamity and the chaos there as they come around with the number 3 holding on to that narrow spot. Shelby Hinton running in fourth. Shelby Hinton running in third, rather. Brecken Reese running in fourth. Hayden Weinbold running at your top 5. But he is out front running away with the lead. The challenge for second still ongoing. It's Gunnar Setzer showing the way.
Shelby Hinton with a very strong and aggressive move in turn number 4 didn't work. But he really goes down the back straightaway, dives down low in turn 3.
So many races this year that Shelby has struggled to get that car rolling, but she is running here tonight. That Craig Enterprise is number 4, not giving up. Justin Peck able to answer every time he has been called to task as the caution lights come on. We've got one upside down, the 45.
Yeah, that's Bradley Cox. No, Jason's dad was outstanding it's Gunnar's dad. Jason was an outstanding open wheel racer for a long time, and ultimately also moved to some dirt late models and won in the Northern All-Star late model ranks. That's a series that great James Essex has been reviving here over the last year or so.
Hard to see what's actually on the screen in this picture we just got from Chris Wilkie, but he's checking in.
What's Chris have to say?
Well, it said he's tweeting his seat. It looks like he might be fishing.
He might be.
The wonders of modern technology where you can go fishing and watch races.
And he's from Wisconsin, so he may be ice fishing.
Has it thawed out yet up there?
I think I was there a while back. Although it was cold when I was there last year.
Of course, Wilkie back in the history of that team, not only in midget racing, but also here at Indianapolis.
The leader card team with championships in 1959 and 62 with the great Roger Ward. Ultimately also was on a car, the 68 winner of Bobby Unser. Ralph Wilkie, the Wilkie family, been involved in USAC from really for day one and began with midget racing. And if you want to talk about a hotbed of midget racing, Wisconsin certainly fits that bill.
Asking if they thawed out, Lauren Kelly with Box 3 said, unfortunately, yes, it has thawed out.
Yeah, he's here. He's on the grounds.
So they get the 45 suspended over the racetrack. Gunnar Setzer, talk about a quick move on the start. Jumps third to first. Justin Peck, likewise, finding all kinds of room in the inside to go up into second. But Shelby Hinton, who has challenged Peck numerous times for that runner-up spot, has been able to clear him and just hasn't been able to hold on to it.
The last 2 days is just about the best I've seen him run in person. He seems very aggressive, and Bob East told me at the Chili Bowl that what he needs is seat time.
And it's showing here as he's starting to get more and more laps and certainly not afraid to go out when the opportunity arises as he'll try the bottom one more time, but Peck quickly down there to block and maybe trying to get around your leader. Setzer, though, with a better drive onto the back straightaway. He's going to hold on to it, and here comes the 00 now.
Yeah, Brecken Reese had such a good day yesterday. Trying to make things happen, that 00 car.
Fair drivers coming up into the micro range, duking it out, but as they're doing that, they open the door for Hayden Weinbold to make his way by. He'll take over the 4th spot now. Reese can get jumped back to 5th. It is going to be Ann Miller, then Abbey, then Haisley. You're already running at your fields. They come around to the wave of the white flag. Gunnar Cookout, qualifier number 4, and he'll be first to the checker flag at 43. Justin Peck across in second, Shelby Hinton in third, Hayden Reinbold in fourth, Brecken Reese in fifth, Cooper Miller, Jeffrey Abbey, Corbin Hazlett, Miles Doherty, and Bradley Cox unofficially running out your field. Quick move, third to first, and he holds on to it at Columbus, Indiana. Driven the Midwest 2 Mills Broad Properties, Lynch Machining, Setzer Fabricating. The gear starts down, number 43, race fans, give him a hand, Gunnar Setzer. Setzer grabbing the win, Justin Peck in second, Shelby Hinton in third, Hayden Reinbold in fourth, Brecken Reese in fifth, Cooper Miller, Jeffrey Abbey, Corbin Hazlett, Miles Doherty, and Bradley Cox unofficially running out your field. Helmets off, let's go down to Christy.
Gunnar Setzer setting a quick pace in that one, getting out to the early lead from the third position. And Gunnar, especially on a racetrack with this much action, how urgent is it to get to the lead early?
Yeah, it was definitely very urgent. I'm glad I found the line pretty early, and the car isn't as good as I need it to be, but I'm sure my dad will get it rolling pretty good. And we felt pretty good right there, but I definitely think there's some things to work on. But yeah, thanks to MTM, the Cure Starts Now, Professional Concrete, linked by Driven Midwest, and Brandon, my dad, Kevin, for giving me the opportunity to drive this, and all the fans, and I have some supporters from home, back at home, in the fans stands tonight.
A qualifier number 4 win for Gunnar Setzer, and a huge fan base over in the grandstands.
Indeed, thank you very much. Qualifier number 5 about to make its way out to the racetrack. PJ Gargiulo to Westchester, Pennsylvania, slated to go from the pole position. Driver of the Church's Auto Parts, Esslinger Elite Chassis, number 5. Next to him will be Chris Scheel out of Aurora, Colorado, driving the Simpson Amsoil Spike, number 91S. Next row from the inside is slated to be Dylan Welch. He's out of Carmel, Indiana, driving the Ripper chassis, Bell helmets, OMP, Trusty Media, Woodland Auto Display, number 60X. And from the 4th starting spot is going to be Briggs Danner to Allentown, Pennsylvania, driving the great company, McDermott Plumbing Speedway Spike chassis, number 40. Next row from the inside, Team Thomas Meserol out of San Jose, California, the England Machine and Tool, Cell Spike, number 7X. And from the 6th starting spot, it'll be Drake Edwards out of Peoria, Arizona. The Avante Windows and Doors, PrestineAuction.com, Petty Performance Racing, number 83. Devin Doby out of Wapakoneta, Ohio, driving the MD Property Services, Esslinger Spike, number 23. From 7th, from 8th, it'll be Billy Weiss out of Noblesville, Indiana, the South Metro Sports, Esslinger Spike, number 2. Kyle Jones out of Kennedale, Texas, the G Hood Construction Stanton Spike, number 27X. He'll go for the inside of your final row with Jonathan Beeson out of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Last night's Inferno Armor Fire Move of the Night recipient in the Driven Midwest, Holly Hollandone, EA Stealth Link Chassis, number 14B.
And we both were impressed with how quick he was, so this is a real opportunity starting at the back for Jonathan.
Charged his way up through the Hoosier Racing Tires C-Feature event. Came up shy in the semi-feature, though, ended up 7th, but still an absolutely impressive run for Jonathan Beeson during your preliminary action yesterday. Cars going to make their way out. Let's check in with Drake.
Solid run for Justin Peck there in that last qualifier, 5th to 2nd, and he came into the qualifiers 10th in points. So you got to imagine you're all but a lock currently for the feature here at the BC 39, barring some massive charges from some massive people here at the very end. But overall, you've been running wing sprint cars the last couple of years before coming back to the midgets. I think Richie Murray said it was been since 2019 since your last USAC National Midget start, but you've been competitive here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Is it kind of like riding a bike for you because you just seem like you've been running this thing for years?
Yeah, I think, being in a fast race car helps, and I've got my dad and our buddy Drew and our buddy Kelly, wrenching on the thing. So, when I was running midgets, I was kind of who I worked with for the most part. So it's nice to get to work with the same group of guys that I ran. When I was driving midgets, I was racing with my dad, you know what I mean? So it's nice to have him kind of working on a race car, and, it gets me comfortable pretty quick. But, I just don't feel like I'm very consistent behind the wheel of a midget. I feel like I got to do different things, and it takes me a while to get into a rhythm. And I don't know, maybe we could have used a little bit more side by tear, maybe a little more forward. It's kind of hard for me to tell, to be honest with you. But, I feel more comfortable today than I did yesterday, so hopefully that translates into the feature we can put on a charge.
Justin Peck has had a very good season with Kubota High Limit Racing, trying to transfer some of that wing sprint car success over here to the dirt track at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Cars firing down around the racetrack. Quick look ahead on the schedule. Again, USAC Racing continuing this weekend at Honest Abe Roofing Lincoln Park Speedway. The Sprint-tacular going to be on July 4th and 5th. Sweet Springs Motorsports Complex, Mid-America Midget Week kickoff. That'll be on Tuesday, July 8th. Mitchell County Fairgrounds, Chad McKinney Memorial. That'll be on July 9th. Jefferson County Speedway, the Midwest Midget Championship, going to be coming up on Friday the 11th and Saturday the 12th. Silver Crown on the big track in Hutchinson, Kansas. All City Speedway 100. It's going to be on Saturday, July 19th. The practice is going to be on that Friday. The Race Aid 100, again, $5 off of every ticket and pit pass going into USAC Race Aid. That's going to be on Wednesday, July 23rd. And that brings us back to the dirt track at Indianapolis Motor Speedway to kick off the NOS Energy Drink Indiana Sprint Week presented by Honest Abe Roofing. That will be on Tuesday, July 24th. And that kicks off a wild series of races. Of course, Indiana Sprint Week, one of the absolute bucket list run of races.
No doubt about that.
That you need to attend. Oh, by the way, if you're the champion of that series, $25,000.
Right. And again, I always shout out my old buddy and my employer at Kokomo Speedway, Ken Evans, who was the one who got Indiana Sprint Week under the USAC banner that paid immediate dividends, particularly when the cars and stars of the SCRA began matriculating to the Midwest. It's been spectacular ever since that point. By the way, I thought the exhibition last year, I thought CJ Leary was a good run for all the naysayers. I've been up to Action Track USA. You have, Brian, and the racing there has been great. So guess what? I bet we can have a great event here.
Yeah, the racing there, I mean, very similar to what we saw here last year. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes here as we kick off the Indiana Sprint Week right here at the Dirt Track Indianapolis Speedway. But before we get to that, the BC39 number 5 goes to green. Ooh, Drake Edwards passing around hard over turns 1 and 2 to start things off here, as it will be the 91 leading him down through turns 3 and 4. On the outside, though, here comes Briggs Danner trying to get a run. Couldn't get there fast enough.
Yeah, Briggs Danner had a lane there for a moment. He can just drive to, but now he goes underneath Chris Shield, hits the hammer, and looks like he'll power into the lead.
Danner on the outside, team is right behind him. Straightway Shield trying to hold on to it, can't do it into turn number 1. He has it. No, opportunity to turn number 2 to the back straightway. It's going to be Danner on the outside with the advantage.
Well, Team Ez is on the high side, making things happen. Shield trying to hold him off, but here comes the San Jose, California driver.
Onto the back straightway. As that was all going on, you had quite the tussle going on. About 4 cars, 3 of them mired all the way down to the bottom. Kyle Jones in the 27X trying to pick his way forward. Started 9th in this one. His team has trips the outside. He's going to go to the top spot in 7. Thomas Meserol, 5th to 1st. And the EA still Team England number 7 out.
No problems there for Danner.
Tough break for Danner as he is down in the infield. He will clear the racing surface and he will stay green. Thomas Meserol working the top side up to the top spot. Here comes Kyle Jones from 9th. He's up to 2nd. Shield back to his inside. They make slight contact.
Yeah, they make contact, and then look at that. Look slips through.
Drake Edwards then rebounds that thing skyward on the start, but he's recovering nicely right now as he'll sneak by the inside as you have the 91. And the 27 tapping tires, and don't look now. Here comes Jonathan Beeson in the back of the field.
Absolutely, it turns the fastest lap of this group last time by. So Jonathan Beeson is starting to spurt a bit.
Just goes back to qualifiers and dipping in the best race of the night so far. Proving it here in round number 5. Meserol comes around to the way of the white flag.
If Jonathan Beeson can make it happen and pick up a couple of more, man, oh man, will this be a big moment for him.
Well, he's got Warmer to the back straightway. Can he hold on to his team? Is going to come around and grab the win. 5th to 1st for the 7X. 2nd going to go to Drake Edwards. And from 10th to 3rd, Jonathan Beeson in the 14B. Kyle Jones and Devin Dobie unofficially your top 5.
Jonathan Beeson has showed speed both nights.
Big drive for the driver out of San Jose, California. He pilots the England Machine and Tool, Team STV, EA Stealth Spike Chassis, High Performance Lubricants, number 7X. Race fans, give him a hand. Thomas Meserol. Meserol with the win. Drake Edwards in 2nd. Jonathan Beeson in 3rd. Kyle Jones in 4th. Devin Dobie in 5th. Chris Shield, Dylan Welch, Billy Weiss, PJ Gargiulo, and Briggs Danner. Unofficially rounding out your field in qualifier number 5. One more to go as Team Ez works on getting the helmet off. Let's go down to Christy.
Always such a pleasure to see Thomas Meserol here at the Dirt Track at IMS, a previous preliminary event feature winner here at the Dirt Track at IMS. And of course, sometimes we talk about patience being the name of the game, but not on this racetrack, right on the rear bumper of Briggs Danner before things went awry. Would you say aggression is more the name of the game here?
Man, that's the name of the game with midget racing. I mean, if you're not, it's kind of kamikaze racing, and if the boys want to be kamikaze, I'm all for it. So, big shout out to Tim and the 7X. We're going for Justin Grant. I mean, he's the high point guy right now. Hey, Justin, I'm coming for you. I don't know if I got enough points to start where I need to, but hey, just super pumped to be here. I wasn't real thrilled about the way the track was. This Ford needs some smooth surface, so pumped tonight the way the track is. Hats off to the track crew and Doug, and a lot of factors into this. You know, the first time they ran this was last night, so it's understandable. But, hey, thank you so much for watching back home on Flow. Thank you so much if you made it to the show. And go check out T-Mez TV if you're interested. I got cameras on the car, and that was pretty good.
Somebody replay that for Justin Grant. He's going to love that out of his former RMS teammate. That's Thomas Meserol, your winner of qualifier number 5. Kamikaze, that's a song, I think, Brian.
Well, Grant's back here. He's sitting on the top of the CB Industries trailer, and he just kind of got a little grin to him, watching everything go on.
I don't think he's racked with anxiety.
Now he's doing this on the way by. Final qualifier out to the Speedway. Driver on the pole is slated to be Cole Parker to Coal City, Indiana. The Terry Cummings Racing Engine, Revolution Bodyworks number 17K. Next to him, set to be the driver to Terre Haute, Indiana. The Honest Abe Roofing Spike EA Cell 16TH of Kevin Newton. Next row for the inside, Cade Morton at Akawita, Oklahoma. The Morton Excavating 4-piston Honda, bulled by Spike number 8M. And outside of him will be Ricky Thornton Jr. He's out of Chandler, Arizona. The Mesilla Valley Transportation, AME Electrical, Reinbold Underwood Motorsports number 19R. Ethan Mitchell out of Mooresville, North Carolina, set for the inside of row number 3 in the Joy of Seating, Walker Filtration, and Rye Helmets number 19M. And to his right, scheduled to be Mitchell Moles. He's out of Raisin City, California, the AME Electrical, Mesilla Valley Transportation number 19. Chris Andrews out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Millennium Torque Contention, Esslinger Boss number 95. He'll roll from the inside of your next row from 7th and from 8th. Set to be the 63G. Or excuse me, the 17L, my apologies, Braxton Cummings in the number 17. Out of Bedford, Indiana, the Revolution Bodyworks Esslinger Spike entry. Austin Wood, Germantown, Tennessee driver, going to go for the inside of your next row in the Shriners Hospital for Children 17H. And your final starter is set to be Frankie Guarini, driver to San Rafael, California, driver the FJ3 Performance Engine, ZMAX 7F Racing, number 63. And we did have a little bit of a reshuffle on the lineups here, and Connor Wolf now being shown on the lineup in the number 41. Again, as drivers have scratched on and off here throughout the day, that did move Connor down to the final starting spot here in this qualifier in the RV Doctor number 41. Let's check in with Drake.
Well, down here in the pit area, it is currently the Drake and Drake show. I'm joined here by Drake Edwards, of course. A really impressive run for you there in that qualifier. 6th to 2nd, but it was anything but orderly. You kind of got bound up there the first couple laps. Take us through that whole qualifier.
Yeah, I think I just underestimated the hole there that first lap and tried to get above it and didn't get high enough above it and biked up and lost a lot of spots there. And luckily, you know, Chad and all the CBI guys, they gave me a great race car. So after that, and after I kind of got situated around the hole there, I could really go wherever I want. So I think we're really good. I think if I just limit my mistakes, I think we'll be all right. So I just can't thank Jerry Petty with Avanti Windows and Doors enough for everything he does for me and this event and everything. So looking forward to this A-Main, and hopefully we can keep it good.
He came into the qualifiers 5th in the overall points. You got to imagine that puts him in a really good starting spot for tonight's 39-lap feature event.
Qualifier of the night. Still a lot up for grabs. Ricky Thornton Jr., of course, a lot of eyes on him. Cole Parker, Terry Cummins Racing Engine. Terry Cummins builds engines for a lot of drivers in central and southern Indiana, the local bull ring sing.
Field going to work on the turn number 4, and the green flag will not fly. Indication that the caution lights are going to be coming on. Officials not happy with the start. They'll bring it back and try it again. sitter. Got Doc to the inside of number 2. That moved the 16 TH up to the pole position, but it's going to be Cade Morton racing by for the race lead into turns 3 and 4. Newton's going to come back after with a slide. He's going to lead on lap number 1. Kevin Newton leading. Cade Morton right there in the 8. He hustles the high side onto the back straightaway. He'll turn it down, and Ricky Thornton Jr. in tow. They'll take first and second off into turns 3 and 4. Behind them, another 19 stalking right now. Here comes Moles. Ricky Thornton on the outside, going to take over Newton. Not done. Gets it back to second. Caution. We got a pair of them sitting over in turns 1 and 2.
Ricky Thornton, plenty aggressive. What's required here at this racetrack is he's moving the front.
Pretty interesting move as you had the 16 and Kevin Newton up the racetrack off of 2, and Morton turned down underneath him, and Ricky said, man, I'm just going to follow you down in there, and they really forced it with the 16, and Newton was able to get down and come on the attack there. Next time around, though, was able to get back down in there, put the slide on Morton, get back around him, and work past it off as can. Newton going to try to get the elbows up here, get back up to the race lead. Not going to do so. It's going to be Ricky Thornton Jr. taking off quickly onto the back straightaway. Newton now going to have to try and hold on to second. Morton to the outside, Moult to the inside. Mitchell's going to have it as here comes Morton one more time to the inside. Cade Morton going to take over the 3rd spot. Kevin Newton not done. Problems. We've got one stopped over in turn number 4. 41 of Connor Wolf. Engine no longer howling on that one.
That's not.
Looking over in the stand, hand signals going wild. Looks like a third base coach at a Yankees game. Well, you got 20 of them lined up.
We don't have any sticks, do we?
Nope, no sticks. Late model driver leading, but no sticks. You know, for a midget driver, he does do a good job in late models.
Yeah, just a little. I admire what he does here.
13 overall wins in the season for Ricky Thornton Jr. 9 of those in Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series, 2 with dirt car late models, and 2 micro wins to go along with it as he takes back off of the race lead. 7 laps to go here in your final qualifier. Mitchell Moles trying to take advantage of the restart, not able to hang with the 19 here. But it will be Reinbold Underwood Motorsports running first and second as they work off from the back straightaway. Battle for 3rd. Newton has it. Got a pair of drivers coming after him. Here comes the 19M of Ethan Mitchell now from the high side to the low side. He's slicing, he's dicing. Looks like a Ginsu commercial out there. He's going to move his way up to the 3rd spot.
Yeah, you got to keep your eye on that right there. That's a problem spot. Meanwhile, let's see if Ricky Thornton Jr. can hold on because Mitchell Moles is coming.
3 wide to the back straightaway, 3 wide in the middle of turns 3 and 4. Kevin Newton going to slip off a shingle and go around. Caught the middle there, and once he hit the chat, the car just went around on him. But Kevin, he is getting the elbows out, trying to get up there and hold on to position. Unfortunately, now going to find himself restarting at the tail end of the field. Ricky Thornton Jr. in the meantime, even with the last restart with Mitchell Moles in his back bumper, was able to pull it out to nearly 0.8 of a second.
I mentioned yesterday with all this racing in the area that tomorrow the All-Star TQ Midget Series is over in Rushville, Indiana, the fairgrounds there.
Might have to add another track to the list tomorrow. Set to go back to green. Single file past the NOS Energy Star Can. Ricky Thornton Jr. in command. Mitchell Moles this time from restart. Going to dive to the inside of Thornton. Force him on the bind as Thornton able to turn back to his inside. They're going to drag it off into turns 3 and 4. Moles to the inside. Thornton as well. Both of them up the racetrack off of the cushion. They're nearly 3 wide. You get all 19. Running first, second, and third right now.
The Mitchell, oh, trouble for Thornton.
Ricky Thornton goes in, grabs the cushion, and a grab back. Yeah, the 19, the 19R, the 19M, unfortunately, are with a problem. So they'll get Thornton pointed back in the right direction. We'll see if he's able to make up any ground here. So it'll be a 3-lap run to the finish. Get a look at the replay here on Flow Racing Studio 56 and cue it up, and you see Ricky going in. Spun up quite enough as he got the right rear up to the cushion. Bounced up in the air. And again, the body language is apparent as soon as he lands, where you see the jolt.
Oh, that's right.
Back to green. Mitchell Moles going to lead him onto the back straightaway. It'll be 2 to go this time. Mitchell running in that second spot. Chris Andrews, in the meantime, he's been sneaking his way forward. He started 7th. He's up to 3rd. Morton has run just about every position in the top 5 so far. As here comes Thornton through the middle. He's going to thread the needle onto the front straightaway. Thornton picking up positions quickly here in the closing laps. Trying to get back up there. He's back to where he started, so he has not lost, he has not gained, but he's trying to get one more. He's going to go after it in turns 3 and 4 as the checker flag drops on Mitchell Moles. For 3rd, they're going to tap tires, and Andrews is going to hold on to it. Ethan Mitchell in 2nd, Chris Andrews in 3rd, Ricky Thornton Jr. fights it back to 4th, Braxton Cummings, Cole Parker, Connor Wolf, Kevin Newton, Caden Morton, Austin Wood unofficially running at your field, but your winner in that one, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Raisin City, California, the AME Electrical, Paseo Valley Transportation, Stanton Spike, Ryan Bolt, Underwood Motorsports, number 19 race fans, give him a hand, Ethan Mitchell. Or excuse me, Mitchell Moles, my apologies. Christy knows his name, I don't.
I knew what you meant. I'm sure he knows what you meant too. Mitchell Moles sneaking around his Ryan Bolt Underwood Motorsports teammate Ricky Thornton Jr. on that start, and then having to recalibrate on the next one. What did you do to make sure that somebody didn't pull a Mitchell Moles on you on the next corner?
You know, it's funny you talk about this. Me and Justin sat next to each other in a signature deal, and you know, sometimes you don't have to be the best car. You just got to be get in the way there and kill the runs. And I felt like I just learned a lot following Justin around all these last couple years, and it makes a difference when you can put stuff that you hear from them and explain to you, and you put it up 4th on the track, and it pays off. So we got a little bit of work to do. I think they're going to work the track. It's going to be it'll change a lot. So we'll just go back to the drawing board and try not to change too much. But my guys have been working really hard to get me comfortable. I don't think I'm such a midget guy these days, but I'm getting more and more comfortable. And those guys have been busting their ass up back there all night long trying to get me there. So thank you.
Well, this team has been fast all week here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That's Mitchell Moles, who picks up qualifier number 6.
Thank you very much. Check my notes. Indeed, it was Mitchell. Sorry about that. Too many 19s to keep track of. So with that, we'll have our heat races coming up for your Stoops Junior Sprints.